All right, everybody. Welcome to your Vibrant. All the Vibrant regulars, good to see you in the chat. Welcome to the Bears who maybe don't show up as often, but, you know, I'm very bear adjacent, I would say. We've got the Noble Savage himself, fresh off of a 2+ hour live stream of his own, and he did Alex Jones earlier today, so we're now 1 degree of separation from Alex Jones. What's up, Owen?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, Alex Jones is fighting the deep state. He wants to keep your weens limp. You know, he's got patriotic erections. Hillary wants to keep you soft. I did that bit to his face today, and he laughed, which I thought was a good sign. It means he still has a sense of humor, which is awesome. But he loves those boner pills, man. He's passionate about keeping the world hard.
His blood pressure seems a little high, though, doesn't it? Like he might have to watch out.
Yeah, he's like, gotta constrict the blood vessels and stay hard. The globalists are trying to keep you soft.
Speaking of soft, this baby-faced guy below me is Topher Gardner. He just shaved to try out some new product, he said.
My blackface. I was putting on my blackface biochar cream.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, you like how blacks are with Robitussin? Like, it's like, you're like, just put biochar on it.
Exactly.
Everything's biochar. Yeah,
it's pee and biochar, and when you mix the pee with the biochar, it's nuts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're having fun already. Owen, I wanted to have you on after that amazing festival to, you know, just let the word out to people, because you know how it is. There's a lot of people who maybe listen to my stream that maybe the only thing they've ever heard about you is the hearsay from the haters. And so it's high time for you to come on and represent yourself. We've got our Illuminati Masonic orange on all together. So it's going to be fun. But that new comedy special you just put out, maybe we should start there or talking about the festival, wherever you want to go, man.
Yeah, I mean, I got to show the world what I am again, and that's a comedian. And for 4 years, I wasn't allowed to do stand-up because every club, every theater would get the call a week before, even if I booked it myself, paid for it. Anybody in debt, guys, debtors are slaves. And so they'd cancel me. And so the haters could feast and swarm and say, oh, he's just dead, blah, blah, blah. But it's just because I couldn't do what I do, which is being a comedian. And before, back in my days in Hollywood, I was in Adam Sandler movies and Comedy Central specials, and I was a regular on a TBS sitcom, and I was Vince Vaughn's closing act. And so I had all the credentials. I actually left for family while I was still repped at CAA. You know, I moved to my brother's town because I wanted my son to know family. I took a stand against the trans kid movement, got fired from everybody. And then the haters could all swarm. And now I think that's over now because we crowdfunded land in the Ozarks. We pitched a tent, literally, got 1,500 people, shot a special. I hadn't been on stage in 4 years. Not to brag, but crushed way harder than anybody on Netflix. Looks great. I sold it for 3 days, made over 30 grand. The camera guy was doing a little financial terrorism and was like saying he owned it and he wanted a bigger percentage. So I refunded everyone and made it free. So now he can have 100% of zero. So everybody that bought the special, you all got refunded. And you can now watch it at unauthorized.tv or for free at BitChute, Rumble. I even put it on my Twitter account. They let me back on Twitter, which is hilarious, but I'm not a lot on YouTube still. And the comedians can do jokes about eating babies and you know, getting banged in the ass by their teacher, and nobody cares. But I couldn't make fun of you know, all demographics equally. And for those of you that were at the show, you got to see that I not only make fun of Jews and blacks and stuff, but I make fun of Christians and vets and people in wheelchairs and Canadians and Danish people and literally everybody. And that's what a comedian has to do. And if you accept the offer that you have to be a mercenary and only make fun of who they want you to mock and that there's protected classes, you're a pussy and you're not a comedian anymore. And so I never sold out. I never cucked. And now you get to enjoy it for free on a week that everyone's trying to scare you with nonsense. Enjoy the special, share it with people, and have a blast.
Yeah, that's at owenbenjamin.com. And I'm still trying to get, the right moment in time to make my parents watch it. But, I've been easing them into things.
They'll like it, dude. Oh, that's the beauty of stand-up. If you send them my stream, they might be horrified. Like if I'm just ranting and like they might be like, oh my God. If you send them my stand-up, they'll love it. Because not to be a dick, but people have been MK Ultra'd where like when they hear laughter, they hear approval. Everyone's scared of like going against the grain. So like that Seinfeld laughter, people then go, oh, this is okay. People agree with this. And then if you watch me do what I do, like my actual craft, which is stand-up comedy and piano, it's undeniably fun and funny and not hateful and not spiraling and not anything. And then people are like, oh, he's grifting because I crowdfunded for land. And then I just gave it away for free and returned everyone's money. So at this point, there really is no ability to hate unless you're just totally insane. And so I think it's a great time to send it to your parents, your friends, quote unquote normies, because stand-up comedy isn't like live streaming. They won't be triggered. And it's all so freaking true that you can't even argue against it,
And the timing just couldn't be more awesome. I wanted to see you and Topher riff about that, like this eclipse that happened. I know you don't attribute things to the sky weather, but
I see it as a clock, so I kind of do. It's like kind of saying like I believe in seasons, so obviously I believe that there's probably more elaborate clock gears going on than just the 4 seasons. Like I can watch Ursa Major go around in a circle all year, and that'll tell me if I need boots or not. So theoretically, there's definitely other systems happening that. So my mind's open to astrology when it comes to making predictions and seeing patterns. Like I don't think it's nonsense. I just think that growing up, I used to call it Dungeons and Dragons for women because they'd be like, oh, you're a wizard with 12 hit points. We're not going to like relate. That was my joke. But if you actually have skill with it, and I also used to see those predictions as so vague. It's like, you want more money, you're scared of death, you want approval. I'm like, no shit. But then when you start looking at, like one thing that really opened my, like one thing is I trust Gardner and he tells me it's legit, but that Athen Clementi predicted the rollout of the vaccine to the day. And that's pretty legit. Like that, there's something going on there. And then that eclipse happened like on a day when like the whole world was just revealing, like it's the day of jihad. Everyone's going nuts. People around me are acting super weird. Right then my special comes out, like years in the making. That's all about breaking victim consciousness. And it really just resonated with me on that balance of like, when they give, they take. Like everything is a give and take. Like Mars might be war, but war is also, burning the dead wood that brings out prosperity. So I really like the balance aspect of it. And I saw that this week. Like something happened this week. Like it was like, bang, everyone's acting nuts. People around me, like a dude I thought I could trust, try to like extort me for money. And it's like, okay, here's all. And then it was just like this amazing feeling. Like I haven't been this happy in a long time.
A release.
Oh, dude, like I've been having a smile on me. Like I gave away 30 grand and I've been grinning ear to ear. Because before I was like bummed out. My wife's like thought she kept asking me if like something was wrong, which is always a sign. That means I'm just staring into space. And like she's like, are you okay? Like she usually doesn't do that. And so that just means I'm like, and I just don't like being in the vicinity of psycho people, like money grubbing, greedy people. And so the fact I couldn't tell the stream because I was like trying to keep it personal and keep it on the down low. And then he pushed my hand to the point where it was like borderline criminal trying to steal our stuff. And so then I'm like, okay, now I get to show everyone. And it's like a great day of feasting in Bertaria. And it's been amazing ever since. It was like this explosion of energy,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say for the record, this chair was provided to me by Mossad, but I'm not on any payroll or anything.
Dude, I know some, like, I'm not a boogeyman guy. Like, I bet I get along with some Mossad guys that are just trying to like grabble and push narratives. Like, your biggest enemy is like your own weakness or like, drinking and driving or something. It's not some faraway monster in some grabbly little country,
Verdad. Which, by the way, there's an interesting Mossad paraglider connection in Costa Rica. The ridge that I lived on was the second best ridge in the world to learn paragliding from.
And it was just all Israelis.
Yes, that whole valley leading up to where you did the jump off point. And I was just, all my friends down there are like super liberal and very tight butt cheeked. And they're like, I was trying to make the joke with them. I was like, have you guys been training the Muslims to like, parabomb? And none of them liked the joke because they take their paragliding so seriously.
That's hysterical.
And now they're the victim class.
Yeah, the paragliding baby butchers and flip-flops coming at a rave near you. It's so fucking dumb that it's like, it's just so fucking funny. Like, it's why I don't hate. It
sounds like, Owen, you support babies being decapitated. It really sounds like.
Oh, dude, it's like hilarious, dude. There was I saw an article today where it was this Israeli landlord was still requesting that a kidnapped woman pay her rent. And I couldn't stop laughing because those are the Jews I love, where they're like, just because you want to go paragliding with your new boyfriend doesn't mean you don't have to fucking pay your rent. And I just think that's like, I don't even know if any of it happened. Like, no one does. Like, I don't know a single person that knows anyone involved, but the script and the story is pretty fucking great. It's like paragliding baby butcher. So they get through an Iron Dome. Like, they can shoot a missile going 3,000 miles an hour. But like Habib with a unibrow, fucking, Free Willy going over. It's so funny. It's like, I know they're trying to start a war and it's very serious and people are dying. But if you just picture some little creative grabbler, like in his little writing a script, it's fucking funny to me, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe that's the writer's strike was to, come up with the most compelling plot line for the next war.
I literally think that the odds of that are over 50%. They're like, we got to get talent, baby. We got to get Dick Wolf. What's that?
They're proliferating Hamasphobia.
Yeah, and Hamas means evildoer in Hebrew. Like, dude, imagine if you're writing a script. Like, I used to write scripts for like Sony and Disney and shit. Like, I know how to write scripts. Imagine if you're like writing a script and the policeman's name is like Gary Policeman. Like, they literally did that with Hamas. Hamas in Hebrew means evildoer or time of violence. Like, why would a Muslim group name themselves the evildoers? It's like the grabblers are writing the scripts are like, an evildoer comes in with a paraglider and like there's a rave and everyone's fucking and squirting in it, but it's on a holiday, so everybody's really conflicted and the Iron Dome can't stop the fucking bit. And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, that's not set in reality. And who knows? Maybe some of it happened. Maybe the Iron Dome just can't sense paragliding. And then they say they just ran around.
They've been doing the Hamas spell time. Like, this is the newest version of it. But if you go back all the way, Ham, H-A-M, it means darkness or black.
Yeah.
Astrotheologically, it refers to the winter sun. But it's all about, the races that you would consider black are cursed because they're from the line of the son of Noah, who was the bad boy.
Yeah.
So they've been doing this Ham, they're the bad evildoers forever. It's like there's nothing new in the Grabbler playbook.
Us. Yeah, like we're Ham. Yeah, that's so funny. That's so funny, dude. Ham us.
It's also an anagram for shame.
Ah, very good.
Nice.
H-A-M-A-S-S-H-A-M-A, Shama, which is also call.
I always thought it was hummus for a while. I was like, why the fuck is hummus fighting Israel? Like, don't they eat hummus? Like, that's how little I paid attention. Don't you feel like this round is a little weird, different because the whole world's watching at this time? And they're like, dude, no, they didn't just bomb. They just bombed their own hospital. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, they did. These fucking evildoers. Like, because they've been doing this shit forever with Palestine. And it's like, and nobody really paid attention, myself included. I used to make fun of Palestinians and shit. I used to listen to Ben Shapiro like 8 years ago. And it's like, now that we're actually watching what they do, it's so dumb and hilarious, but in a murderous way.
Gabe, come back in on your phone. You're kind of choppy on the computer. We'll figure that out like tomorrow if you want to IT that up. But we want you smooth, buddy. Smooth Oxus,
BRB.
you know, analysis. Topher, what's going through your smooth little face right over there?
Oh, dude, I was just thinking of, like, you know, I'm still on the paragliding thing, like the paramilitary, paragliding, para this, para that. Like there's
Doesn't
something
parabellum mean prepare for war?
maybe from the John Wick movie. I don't
It
know.
means like prior to war. Yeah, parabellum, pre-war, antebellum, post-war.
That's it. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Paraglider, prepare to glide.
Yeah, Josh in the chat, he said they like gliding because it reminds them of lube.
Exactly.
Nice and
Dude,
smooth.
they're super perverted. Ask Topher. Like,
Yes.
they're all about gliding and squirting and being naughty. Like, that's why when they write these scripts, it's all about like something real creepy and slimy.
What was the actual, like, because I have not watched one piece of news on this. I get all my updates through UBB. Like, I don't even know what the mainstream is saying about this. Like, I don't give any, like, zero attention to it. So
Good. It's the most nonsense I've ever seen. So you're missing nothing.
are the people, so what's the call to action right now in the US?
Oh, deploy American troops to Gaza, fight Iran, kill all the Arabs, reset the system. Like, it's, you know what they want. It's just, are people going to bite? Is there going to be enough? You know, they're just bombing the shit out of Gaza, but they won't go in because they'll probably lose. So they're like trying to get Americans to go in.
Mhm.
And so American media is really, really trying to promote the paragliding baby butchers. But people are so worn out. I mean, 2001 was not that long ago. And then Russia bombs their own pipeline, and Zelensky and all this insanity, COVID. People are like, nah. And all these military guys, like, everybody is trying to be called up right now. Like, I know a lot of people that are military adjacent, like they left because of the vax or something. And they're going hardcore to get everyone back in the military. And they're trying to send aircraft carriers. And I just think that it's a combination between grabbler paranoia of Sharia, which is sound banking, because they're getting so much money and they're getting so much power and demographics. Because, like, you know, the anal sliding they've been doing and gliding hasn't really paid dividends on the demographic front. So, go ahead.
You guys know that I think Israel has been paying every single one of its Israelites that have been worldwide to come back to Israel over the last 4 or 5 years. They were giving something like $80,000, and they made it so it's such a grabbler thing to do that their first $250,000 that they brought back into Israeli banks was tax-free. Did you all know that?
No, I just thought a bunch of pedophiles were going there to avoid being charged.
Well, a lot of my Israeli friends in Costa Rica were like, whoa, like, hey, we could go back to the motherland. It's crushing. Like, there's so much, like, our money is protected. Because, you know, the grabbler knows how to entice the grabbler, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And, but they've been enticing all these Jews to come back. And then COVID occurs. And then they have the highest percentage of people getting the jab, right? And so it's like, hey, everybody come back and bring your money, and we're going to jab you up. And now there's inciting an extermination event. I want to know how this domino in the Middle East actually works with the dominoes that have been set in place with the Ukraine. Like, in talking with Vox, do you, like, what's his, they're obviously both linked, correct?
Yeah.
So what are the dominoes? Because they've sucked a ton of money back into the Israeli pipeline, and now they're inciting this crazy war. How does that link with what's happening in the Ukraine? Like,
Well,
just like
Vox thinks that we've been in World War III now for like a year. And
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
what happened in World War I, where it started easy, and people called it the false war, and it was just kind of gradual. And what's been going on with China, Thailand, Ukraine, Russia, the BRICS, the SWIFT, the Saudi Arabia trying to get off the petrodollar, the tensions, like we're in World War III, and so I had a wacky thought that the Khazarians wanted to go back to Ukraine. They want to clear out all the denazify it, which means everyone that could hurt me.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with financial systems. You want to talk about a pattern? I don't think it's a coincidence that the number one celebrity now associated with the NFL is Taylor Swift
Right.
with the Swift system.
Right.
And then when you're looking at who's playing in the Super Bowl, you got the Chiefs, or we have the Eagle against the Chief, which is like the Indian against the American, like the India system, because they always do this shit with the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Like the Black Panthers with Newton against the white Denver Broncos, right as BLM's kicking off, and the Patriots win in 2001. And so, Tampa Bay.
That's why you call us Grabbler football, is because even the sports ball stuff reflects what Grabbler football has on its agenda.
Oh, it's all completely linked. It's like the 33-yard line, Bitcoin toss at the fucking, everyone's dead again. It's like shotgun confiscation. We're going back. Oh, he's squirting again, and everyone's dead. Welcome to Grabbler football.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah. And it's true. Like Tampa Bay was the first time in Super Bowl history to win at home during COVID lockdowns, like at home. It's like, now, is that the universe? Is that like things? Because I see so many coincidences. Like I just gave back $33,000 after 3 days. Like this shit happens to me all the time, and I'm not planning it. So it's like, is this just happening? Or is that like a script? Like I honest to God don't know, because during COVID, I knew two very high ranking grabblers that were terrified of COVID, and they got vaccinated. It was like George Soros's money guy, like the guy above George Soros was like, wash your hands. Oh, fuck. Like totally in. And I'm like, if that guy doesn't know, how the fuck is this a script? I don't know, man.
You're onto something there, because the whole trying to hurt me mentality is that the world, the external world, is bad, dangerous, fallen.
Yeah.
That's the whole like fix the world, tika molam, or however you say that. Like the entire mentality is based on God is a punisher, evil, like evil is the nature of humanity. The world is fallen and broken. Your body is dirty. So everything bad, bad, bad. And that worldview, like externalized, is that of course you're going to believe in cooties. Yeah. So,
and they almost manifested like the way we manifested Bertaria, and it was like unbelievable. They might have manifested the fucking virus, where they're just like, they're literally doing this so much that I don't even believe in viruses like the way they're described, but like, you know what I mean? Like the mind virus, where people are now reacting as if it's real, so they are sick. It's like, they're like manifesting their own hell, where they're like, because it comes from trauma. Like if you're highly traumatized, you view the world, well, it's a choice. You don't have to do this, but a lot of people do this, where they're like, I have to control everyone around me so I'm not hurt again, and so that's why trauma leads to like narcissism and control freaks, because you're like, if I can't control and manipulate everybody, like they can hurt me. And that's why a lot of women are very manipulative if they've been like raped or something, because they have to like mind fuck everybody so that they're not attacked again.
Well, and there's another thing about this so I do this energy work, biofield tuning thing. And so I've had a ton of experience working with people directly and getting a window into their life experiences. And one of the things that trauma does that's not as talked about, something about the whole inner outer world reflection that we all experience, where the outer world is manifesting based on our beliefs and our expectations about life, is that the highly traumatized person, whatever that trauma has caused them to think life is or how life is, they will literally, experiences will happen as if it's happening to them, especially if they believe things are happening to them and they're not happening to things, that will repeat. And the same type of feeling or pattern will happen over and over again. And so like Dylan says here, I think that it's baked in, and people noticing it and giving the elites credit for it, things like, the conspiracy of the world, is unwittingly disempowering. Like that's one of the
100%.
things I can't stand about truthers is that they're constantly externalizing all their power to the them.
Yes.
Like they did this, they rewrote the history. I'm like, what if people just got lazy and stupid and lost the history? You know? Or it's probably a mix. It's not like all some big capital T they doing it to you. But if you believe it's being done to you, if you think life is happening to you and you're not happening to life,
100%.
the patterns will repeat and it will
Plus-
verify your belief. It will feel like your belief is justified.
Plus, we all know most people don't want the truth. Like, let's just be honest about it. People want what they want. We project onto them, and we're all talking about projection because we want the truth and we're willing to like make the decisions that would actually allow truth to come to us. I used to project that onto tons of different people.
Me too. Yeah.
And I unwittingly attracted sociopaths and psychopaths that took advantage of me because of that.
That happened to me this week, dude, with Adam.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
I'm like, why would anyone steal? Like, why would, like, you'd lose your whole honor? Like, this is, like, we can't even imagine why you would do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's low trust culture meets high trust culture just doesn't mix. It's like, it's weird.
And there's also the predator aspect. Like there are predators. They see good-natured people. They see good-natured people that have charisma. And they're like, oh, I can steer. I can be the consigliere on the side and steer this ship. Let the charisma bring in the juice and I'll fucking steal from the back end.
Exactly. And people do try to do that with me constantly. But it never works because they always project. Like after a few months, like what just happened with Adam is he was like being like, oh, Buzz Killington's just jealous of my money. And everybody just everyone wants to control you. And they're just jealous because I have your ear and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the only reason you're getting paid so much is because he told me to, because he likes you. And he thinks I can be annoying. Like he doesn't care. He doesn't want to puppet me. He like thinks I'm annoying. Like you're retarded. He's like, hey, everyone's coming at me. I'm like, dude, you always sow your own destruction with that mentality. And that's why the grabbler can't last. Because it's like, it's all based on this delusionary illusion. And then the cows just come home and people are like, that's why the winner mentality, back to what Dylan Sicasio was saying, is like, these people sin and do these horrible things, but we should see it as an opportunity. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, you want to destroy comedy on Netflix with PC World? I'm going to take your shit. You want to make the soil bad? I'm going to make biochar and piss on it and sell it to you. You know, exactly. And that's the winner move. The winner move is looking at these elites as people failing.
Do you ever mix the biochar with your piss before you drink it?
Fuck yeah,
the winner mentality. Yeah. Speaking of,
Mike Winner.
What?
Nice.
What up, later?
I literally just messaged you, Mike, and I was like, pop in anytime, bring the winner mentality. And you didn't see that message, but here you are. So we're
like, see, that's what I mean. Like, that's not planned. I was like, it's about being a winner. Bang, here's Mike Winner. It's like constantly happening.
I just got out of a workout. Sorry, guys. Sorry,
Mike,
gents.
that hair is doing it for me, man. I love it.
Dude, I got a new workout where I'm just being an animal while I work out, primal movement. So I was like a cat. Then I did the bear. Then I did a crab crawl. Nice. Then the spider, though, is the toughest. The spider, Topher.
On the fingertips.
On the fingertips, low, and you got your hips out.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, I like to do the raccoon and steal a kid's bike. I'm just kidding.
There's too much white in that outfit.
There is. There's too much white and gray.
But they have those black hands.
Is that code for Bowler Bear, the raccoon?
I don't say it out loud, but yeah, obviously.
Okay, so there's a question in the chat about like define grabbler. What is a grabbler? So it's a thing. It's basically a skexy, right?
It's a behavior because Jew is not accurate. Because I know because like the Pope is a grabbler, so you can't say like Jews. You know, it's like Bill Clinton's a grabbler. So you get it's like once you feel like you get what a grabbler is like the ones like, oh yeah, like they enjoy fucking people over, and they're usually hunchback and they rub their hands a lot, and they're just like they're parasitic by nature. You know, they're like They're just saying, yeah, I don't know. Once you get what the grabbler is, it's so obvious. And it's the best way to separate, you know, like misplaced Jew hate, because there's a lot of Jewish grabblers, but it's not because they're Jewish. And that's why
the
we
fact
just
that
needed
there's
more
not an insult
vocabulary.
word for that, or there's not like a cultural word for that. I mean, as you said in your special, Jew is the only one where the name
insult
of
is
the
the
group
identity.
is also the insult. So
Yeah,
it
like
needs
whites have white trash, blacks have the hard N, Jews have Jews. You know, it's like it's like you can say you're a Jew or you're a Jew, and it depends on your eyebrows whether or not you're like insulting them. And that,
well, the thing is, like at the end of the day, bring it back to World Wars, it's always repeatedly, like going back even to the 1300s with the Templars, that the Jews are set up to be the bagman, the fall guy for
Always.
what the grabbler class is up to. So it's very tricky because like we can't, like we get these words struck from the lexicon otherwise, or you're bad if you say them, but that, you know, is all part of the language control to steer people eventually towards the victim class becoming the class that is blamed, and
Exactly.
the cycle repeats again and again and again.
Well, that's the irony, is using the hard N, which I won't say on YouTube, but not because I think it's a bad word, is actually good for black people because it separates it's the Chris Rock joke. I love black people, but I hate hard N. You know, it's like the hard N wants credit for shit you're supposed to do. I feed my kids. You supposed to, you fucking hard N. And there was a dude on Twitter, this black dude was like, I don't want to be associated with this crime as a black man, blah, blah, blah. And I retweeted. I'm like, if only there was a word that separated black men from the criminal element and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, if only we had a word. Because what happens is if you don't have that word, like white trash, like whites totally have it. The copper stealing meth addict who's blaming his dad for everything, right? White trash, no problem. If you don't have that word, the entire group gets blamed. And ironically, it keeps them in a more form of mental slavery. It's actually like the exact opposite of what they're claiming. Like like, you know, the Jews will get blamed for the crimes of the banking class when a lot of them are just selling deli meat and bitching about the weather. You know, it's insane.
So Mike, dude, how you doing?
I always personally liked the word heeb. So that was a good one.
That's a
That
strong
was a
one.
good one. That is
I
good.
saw a bar once called Heb Brew, and it was a Jew selling beer. Those are the Jews I want to. I want those Jews to do great. That's why I'm like, no one loves the Jews more than me. You know, like that guy's crushing it. Heb Brew.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious. Well, we
I'm
know
sure
the whole
some
like
white girl got
Semitic.
it canceled. What's that?
We know the whole like they're not Semitic, the ones that are the Zionists and all that. Like that's the thing. Like that's the thing Bear educated me about like 20 years ago is the history of the Semitic people are literally the same. The Palestinians and the same. They're like the same.
Well, it's back to that thing we were talking about with Hamas being derived from Ham. The Semites are supposedly descended from Shem. But when you get into the whole astrotheological allegory that story is, you know, predicating something off of being a descendant of Shem is like saying you're a descendant of Gandalf or something. You know, like we can't verify some kind of historical timeline of the genealogy going back forever. And that's something that the ruling class has always employed, our grabbler genealogers, to create the illusion that they have some sort of divine right of rulership going back to however far. So yeah, like even that word Semite is a talismanic because it's like, are we talking about a language group? So how can you be descended from a language?
I thought it was a language, like the Arabic and Hebrew is all Semite. Yeah, because the blood is bullshit. It's like, yeah, you're allowed to have your nation and your people and all that, and people, birds of a feather flock together, but we don't know who our ancestors are.
No.
You know, like most Jews don't know who their dads are. You know, it's whatever strong man was cleaning their pool while they were whacking off in their lawyer office. That's their dad. So their fucking lineage goes back to that guy.
Don't they trace the lineage on the matriarch side, the women's side?
That's what they claim, yeah. But you know, there's a lot of conversions and.
And I saw this movie that just came out
counting.
called Dumb Money, And it was like, they already have a movie about it. It's about the GameStop stock thing that happened 2 years ago. So like a bunch of grabblers involved, including the head producer was the son of the CEO of BlackRock. But in that movie, one of the like the top elite investors, a guy who I can't remember the actor, but he's a J. He's on the phone with another one of the investors, Seth Rogen's character, and he literally goes, "I'm coming." I'm like, are they listening to you?
Like he was jerking. Dude, I base it on reality. Like my old agent used to always, and he was like, lived in a Malibu mansion, you know, and hunchback, hand rubbing. And he'd always be like, "Man, I have a terrible posture. I've been drinking kombucha." Like he literally, and he would try to pinch me. He'd always look at me and go, "You're so fucking big and handsome. Oh, fuck." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, cool." And then he'd like pinch me like he was marking me and he'd give me a bruise. And dude, sometimes if he had any wine, he'd just have this smile on his face. And I could tell he was thinking about whether or not I had a huge dick. And I'm like, fuck, you guys are weird. Like they'd be like, "Look at you. Oh, yeah." And they're all like that. They're literally like, "Oh, yeah, fuck. Like my ficus plant. Oh, yeah."
I really
like
liked your bit in the new special about.
Go ahead.
Well, I really liked your anti-giant bigotry bit in the new new
David
stand-up. Gabe here, he's actually like 6'6" or something.
You get it. We've been attacked.
Yeah, man. I was terrified when I was a kid and I found out that they hunt giants. I was like, man, people are going to misinterpret. They're going to misinterpret it quick. And plus, I'm also a ginger as well. So I got
shit. Nephilim in the house.
Double profiled.
That's right.
Hilarious.
Extra hair all over the body. You probably have an extra row of teeth. Probably have 6 fingers. Let's get real here, Gabe.
That's awesome.
You know, one of the
you were tortured by all the Disney cartoons young, where they like beat up on the giant. Mickey's like the tailor trying to attack the giant.
Yep, every time. One more weave on the Hamas. Chance, you know that in the Greek creation myth, that humans get their name from the likeness of the mud being similar to humus.
Oh, Latin word for soil is humus.
That's it. And so the name human is related to this Hamas. And we know that that's part of the big fear tactic too now, is that humanity is being replaced by machines. And so when they get their drone extra lethal forces against these Hamas, it's going to be machines against humanity. And that's what this is initiating. That's what this is seeding and kicking off.
And I think they're collecting consent too, like to get everyone to go, "Yeah, kill Hamas, kill." And I'm like, you know what you're consenting to right now? Like they're trying to get everyone to almost be like, "Yeah, kill us, like control us, control humans." It's interesting.
Yep. And it's an anagram for a shame. You know, that's
a sham.
And a sham.
I don't think they're going to pull off this shit, man. I don't think that. I was just talking to a bear, you know, Wild Med Bear from the festival. Great guy, strong mustache. He helped Samoan Poppy when he had the mint allergy. Great dude. Puts out wildfires, legend. His grandfather was like one of the king Jews who like came here with nothing, started an insurance company, like legend, like super rich, multi-generational, grateful, hardworking, crushing. The next generation was like kind of weak, and then everyone started getting like gay and died of opioids. It's like they're not maintaining. Like they're not like they think that they can do like these crazy things with their drones, but they're like going to start shitting their pants.
Yeah, I see the whole thing is just becoming a clown show, because it's that reality that black magic spells they've been trying to do has just been splintering apart and falling apart.
Yeah.
It seems that's why I don't know if you guys covered the paragliders, but
yeah.
Oh, you did?
No, what do you got on the paragliders, dude? What do you got? What we came to was we decided that they like gliding because it reminds them of lube, but maybe you got something.
Well, I just said that they're hella gay, but
they got their training in Dominiclito.
I mean, I think with the black magic, it's what they try to manifest. It's not going so well for them because of the awakening, thanks to the bears and Interverse and Alpha Vedic, like we're countering the black magic spells. And I think that's also why, my whole thing is thinking in destiny. Like when we think as a collective, we create the destiny. So, that's why we see all these jokes that Owen puts out popping up in pop culture. It's because it's getting into the subconscious of the bear community. And that's actually now countering what they're trying to do. And it's not, I don't think it's anyone stealing jokes. I think it's literally just how the reality structure works.
Bro,
so
that's where I'm getting. I like don't even accuse people of stealing jokes anymore. I used to spiral. It'd be like word for word, and now I'm like, oh, that's like it's like when you're talking about like a spider. I'm like, I hit a spider web and it just went like this, and it just people felt it, and they may have no idea why they're saying it, and I'm like honored now. I think it's great.
I noticed it whenever you figured out that you were a bean spiller, that, you started saying spill the beans, the whole Gavin Newsom thing. I started that very week, like days later, I started hearing everybody on other podcasts, even as far away as Australia, that as far as I know are not bear adjacent at all, in all kinds of genres, like paranormal podcasts. They all of a sudden were like, they would say something about spilling beans. It just started popping up.
It's wild, dude. And you see it in media, like the New York Post, like I'll talk about some on a stream 2 days later. It's like a bear broke into a home, spilled some beans. He's 33 years old. It's like, it's just, it gets so wacky, man.
It's the Owenton window.
Yeah. Like Cocaine Bear, the movie. I just spent 2 years with a stuffed bear with a blown out nose from cocaine that happened to him in Tel Aviv. Like that was my joke. All of a sudden there's a movie called fucking Cocaine Bear. And everyone's like, best. Dude,
that's the best.
Producer is probably from Tel Aviv.
Is he still your inside man? Is he still over there?
Yeah, he's been with Tommy Robinson in a sauna in Tel Aviv for years now, but he's whacking everyone off. He's getting to the truth. But yeah, dude, because we have the same rights that they do. Like if they want to manifest fucking COVID, we can manifest our shit. And they don't have an advantage. Like their advantage is starting to fall apart of like their mass media, because now no one trusts it. And the people that are watching it are like low, like they're like kind of like not living. I'm not saying that they're NPCs or anything, but like they're not, I don't want to sound like a dick, but they don't have the same chutzpah, the same chi. I don't know what to say, but it's like 1 million, Taylor Swift fans is like 9 bears, Like as far as I don't know, I don't want to demean people.
I just spoke at a farm with a bunch of badass people, a bunch of bears there in Texas. Nice. Really cool 200-acre farm. It was like a sovereignty festival, and I spoke about this. I was like, no, not everyone is equal. Due to the quality of your thoughts, there are different classes of people. We can't fall into that trap. Like if there are just doers to the bottom. I'm taking this from this dude, Percival, Thinking in Destiny. I love this book. I think I told you about it, Topher. Dude around the 1920s who just crushes it in this book. But basically, due to our mental diet and then how we protract that into reality defines the class we are, of the human we are. And so you're either just a doer, just trying to fulfill your bodily desires, or you're a trader, which is a grabbler. He talks about the traders in this. When I say trader, TRADER, and that's trading their desires. So they're basically, their whole lives are around trading for their desires. Then there's the thinking class, which is us. And so we do what's best for what the thinking mind says is best. The philosopher, the poet, the bard, the podcaster. And it's not like we're just sitting around thinking, we're doing. And then there's the knowing class. And the knower is like the ascetic. It's the freak that you barely ever see. Maybe it's like the 0.1% that are actually tapping into God consciousness. You barely get to see it. If you get to hang out with one of those guys once, like Topher, when we just last chatted, and Bear had he had that elder, Native American elder he knew that kind of showed him some stuff. And I think you said you knew a guy like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Like if you get to know a knower, you're stoked. But the thinkers, I was saying at this farm event on the stage, I said, the thinkers are coming together right now. And the thinkers aren't the traders. The traders are the grabblers. They're the ones that have been controlling the world for thousands of years, or at the end of each cycle, the thinkers come in and the thinkers kind of fix shit. And that's where we are right now, where the thinkers are coming in, they're fixing everything, and the traders or the grabblers are losing their power.
Yeah, the thinkers are starting to become the noticers. Where you're like, what are you doing over there? Because it's like, doesn't it seem like there weren't a lot of those guys 40 years ago? Like people weren't like, so what is money? You know, they were just doing it. They were just kind of going along with it. And now there is this like reassessment of what we've been doing for the last 1,000 years. And people are like, whoa.
Well, it's just because the lies have gotten so like out there. I mean,
you mean paragliding baby butchers at a gay rave is to start a war and blow up a hospital? You're telling me that doesn't make sense through an Iron Dome?
I mean, if that's not AI writing that, I don't know.
That's true. That's
because
true.
you know the paragliders has a historical echo. When Mussolini went missing for multiple weeks, he was taken hostage out in the forest, and they were trying to get psychics to divine his location. And it was his fellow fascist agents who were Rangers, like the Italian Rangers, who came in on paragliders and silently infiltrated the camp and saved his ass with hardly any shots fired. So they had to stab all those guards. It was all blade work. But that's a legendary story. But what happens, echoing that now, is giving hope to the Antifa crowd. So when Antifa hears an echo of these bad guys are parasailers, who the last time we heard that in history, they were saving Mussolini. That puts that crowd against the parasailor, whatever, mythology.
Well, what does AI do? AI pulls from like real, actual people that do cool stuff. It just steals everything, right? So this is literally out of a James Bond movie. It's like that's what I think of paragliding. I think of like a 1965 James Bond movie where the villains are sweeping in on paragliders, right? It's like it's.
Dude,
it's
think
like
about how easy it is to shoot a paraglider. You like barely you're just like bang bang. Like it would be the worst possible entrance for an enemy combatant. Like they're just slowly. It's like they're coming in on a golf cart. Like.
Yeah, and they have to spiral up with thermals. That's the thing. Like we would watch them for hours and hours. They literally have to catch a thermal to get rise. It's not like they're, have the ability, like they're descending if there's no thermal.
Dude, it's basically rollerblades happened.
It's air rollerblading.
Like it's basically like they rollerbladed in and took over the IDF. Like literally, I put paraglider in the same ballpark as rollerblading.
That's what's so funny about it is like they puff up their agents in the conservative alt-right or whatever. They puff up the capabilities of the IDF. Like, even in conspiracy culture, you hear the whispers of, they've got all the data. They invented all of the surveillance technology. Everything feeds back to them. Yeah. They're the nexus of the entire New World Order. But then they give us the story of like, they can't even stop a paraglider. It's, because the victimhood story doesn't mash with the overlords, secret tech overlords story at all.
Dude, tech doesn't actually get you there. It's like you can give like a little nerd a new Genesis 12 shotgun that my buddy invented. It's just like insane. And he doesn't even know how to use it. Like you can get the whole world's data. And if you don't know where to look or have that wisdom, like the knower you're talking about, what's the point? You're just probably listening to a chick and jacking off. Like you're like low. You don't even know who to listen to. You have to have the knowledge of even seeing where to look. Like you're in a library and you don't know what book to read. And it's so Faustian and so funny and stupid. And the bit I was working on is, we had 747s, and because of inflation, they just got some paragliders. Because 9/11 was just, but they're like, okay, what do we got? And they're like, well, we can afford paragliders.
It reminds me of the inflated plane in the Afghanistan when we were leaving. Remember, and it was like a weird
the balloon
plane because they couldn't afford a real one. The
fakeness. What was this?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Oh, dude, it was during.
It was so stupid.
It was during when we pulled out of Afghanistan, and there was like a clip where there was like all these Afghanis jumping on the plane trying to hold on, and it was like you could tell it was almost like a blown up looking plane. It wasn't even a real plane when they were.
Yeah, and it was like, and the number on it was like 9/11. It was like the numerology was like retardedly obvious. It was, dude. It was a balloon.
So cheap. The grabblers are so cheap. They're using AI now to write their psyops, and the AI is doing a really shitty job.
That makes sense.
So we can't even afford the humans anymore.
Yeah. Because they're so insulated, they have no idea that how the world actually sees them anymore.
So
It's
when we
funny
did-
because the whole problem with AI and CGI, they call it the uncanny valley, where it almost looks real, but it's like creepy because there's something off, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And that's actually living grabblers. When you look at them, they are the uncanny valley of humanity.
Totally.
So, you know, it begs the question of, is this like demonic infestation, or is this some kind of body snatcher thing going on?
Well, I mean, to go back to what Owen was saying about data doesn't give you power, look at your average academic Harvard master's degree individual who's triple jab, double masked during COVID. They have supposedly all the IQ in the world, all of the data, and yet they're doing the stupidest shit, believing in NASA, believing in nukes, believing in all the nonsense. They aren't very wise, dude. They're not
Dude,
tapped
think about
in.
all these mansions filled with families, quote unquote families, where they're now celebrating that their posterity just chopped off their cocks. Like, that's the end of that. Like, you're, you know, thousands of years of getting past famine and war and all that. It's like, you just got beaten by just chopping off your cock. Like, now there's no more line for your family, no more cock.
And the irony is they're going to be the only ones going to fight the war, probably.
Yeah, because they need hormones now. Did you see that catch 9/11, where it was like, all these trans people have to support Israel now, even though they want Black Lives Matter, because without Israel they can't get their hormones, and they regrow their dicks.
Well, there's probably something to circumcision, you know, is like the G-rated version of where now they're going. You know?
Yeah, dude, it's inflation. They started with the tip. And they're like, well, because of inflation, we got to take your whole shaft now.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they just keep going. It's like it's the hedonic treadmill. You can't get satisfied with baby tips of their dicks for years and centuries. You're like, just give me the whole dick, you know? And then they're like, and put them on hormones and fucking eat them. And that's how you end up in these like monstrous societies. I think they're landing the plane at this point. I don't see how they grapple their way out of this. It's just too obvious now. It's just too like remember when Mohammed Atta's passport fell from the plane? They've always been bad. They've always been ridiculous.
Yes.
So a plane exploded hitting a building, and a passport of the hijacker fell down right at the feet of an FBI agent. And that's how they knew it was Mohammed Atta that morning, so that their narrative made sense. Dude, it's a Hollywood writer's room. They're like, well, how do we know it's Mohammed Atta? It's like, oh, fucking passport. And now people are like, no, shut up, dude. I've lost too many friends to opioids. Like,
well, to your point, they've always been bad. Like, you can go back to like the JFK assassination, 9/11, all this stuff.
The Hindenburg.
So we know that their writing has been bad. There was probably people like us back then that were like, this is bullshit. My question is, do they actually even need to be good to get the consent? Because when I talk to my Christian friends, or my friends that I should say identify with Zionist Christian ideals, they're fucking all in. Like, they're
really, they're all in on the paragliding. They're like World War III,
dude. Because I'm telling you, there's something with entrainment technology where you're not actually dealing with the person that you think you're dealing with.
Totally, they're in. Like, you know, people that you respect that are all in on this.
My oldest friend, his fucking pastor says something, even though he thinks he has a mind of his own, he literally doesn't. Like, he fucking goes straight to the narrative that's on the TV. Whoa. There's something with, I've seen this my entire life. I said this to my parents when I was younger. I'm like, why would they tell us what's going on? Because my parents had all this arrogance because they watched the news and they thought they were well informed. And I'm like looking at the TV and it's nothing but war and death and all this shit. And I'm like, why would they tell us what's going on?
Because they have everybody's demographics mapped out. They know where we are generationally. Like right now, I call it the midwife crisis for a heap ton of very important souls. While we still have some fighting years left in us. Say us, I'm just talking about our age group. And so the people who have that Zionist bent to them, they're like, hey, maybe I could get a couple punches in before I'm on the ropes and I got to check out of this lifetime. You know?
Well, with that, I wanted to talk to you, Gabe, specifically about Boates. How do you say that? Boots?
Boates.
Boates.
The Greek way would be votes.
Boates.
Boates. The herdsman, Adam in the sky.
And the eclipse, like give us the like full symbolic gravy of this eclipse, because you're the man to do it.
Right. Thank you. Yes, we are. We're right between a full solar eclipse just happened, and that means that there's inevitable follow-up of a lunar eclipse that comes next week. Mm-hmm. Actually, if you guys don't mind, I'll try to be concise, but we are in a very sacred time period. And the fact that we're meeting with this grand master of comedy on this particular night, I'm gonna sync up all kinds of wild gravy if you guys give me a minute.
Yes,
I can't even believe the alignment. So yeah, last week we had the solar eclipse. This whole pop off in the Middle East was just days before Aleister Crowley's birthday, October 12th. It's also October 12th is the first day of, if anybody has seen The Watchmen, Alan Moore's comic, the very opening scene of The Watchmen is October 12th, Aleister Crowley's birthday. So all the chaos popping off for these 93 hard-ons is just stroking their preference. It's a couple days later, Friedrich Nietzsche's birthday is October 15th. And I just learned, fascinating to me, Friedrich Nietzsche's birthday is the beginning of a Hindu holiday that is a 9-day holiday. It's called Navaratri. You thought Boates was a hard word to say. Navaratri is a 9-day event. And each day is a different Devi. Yeah, and these Devis, I perceive them as harmless, beautiful, feminine. Yeah. They're riding on elephants. They got flowers in their hands. There's only one of them who's really scary and freaky. On day number 7, she's got a bloody sickle over her head. But what's going on here in my project over on my channel, I did the Plato Symposium on the Enneagram and found out that Plato Symposium is encoding a much deeper truth that everybody wants you to think that comes from the 70s, that comes from Gurdjieff, and Gurdjieff got it from some Sufi mystics. This thing is ancient. It's been programming and setting our expectation for a very long time. It's quite sophisticated. It's a very long story. But these sovereigns sitting in a circle discussing the nature of love, passing the talking stick. It's the symposium is called the Touchstone. It's called the Test. Come to find out, each one of them has a job or a role to play in society. The first guy is a rhetorician. The second guy is a lawyer. Funny enough, it's the lawyer who is the one who brings pederasty into the conversation. Now everybody wants to turn and run and clutch their pearls when they hear pederasty. I'm here to tell you, if you've ever taken a lawyer on, you participated in a pederastic ritual. And so it's not about children, it's about infantilizing full-grown adults so that we still engage in rituals that are pederastic in nature.
Well, and just on a note on that, that's why we're all minors with our all caps aim. We were considered minors by that in all law and maritime law and how the whole system is. Right. And that's how lawyers relate to that. And I'll go ahead.
Yes. So that was quite a black pill for me to swallow in the project. I'm like, this is disgusting. They're talking about adults with kids. And I'm like, wait a second, check myself. No, we still do this shit. We still socially accept this pederastic ritual when you go to a lawyer. So of course it's the lawyer in the room who brings that subject up, and it's still going on today with adults. So the next character is the physician. Well, actually, the next character is the comedian. He's in seat number 3. But when he hears the lawyer speak despicable hypocrisy, he catches a case of the hiccups. He actually goes into a conniption fit because of the amount of hypocrisy he just witnessed. And it's the comedian who is the master of recognizing hypocrisy, so much so that he can't speak right now. He's like in a conniption. So the physician comes and takes his place. He's like, here, hold your breath. And if holding your breath doesn't cure your hiccups, then tickle your nose with this feather. And so he actually sets Aristophanes aside.
Bro, I got to tell you a real quick gravy thing. When I recorded my special, the first couple minutes, I literally had lost my voice. How funny is that? Like, I couldn't even talk. It was like weird, man. I mean, I attributed a little bit to just being outside in the heat a lot. I got my voice back, but I couldn't talk. It was fucking funny, man. It was, and the fact that you just said that the comedian lost his ability to speak is fucking hilarious. All right, anyway, go on.
It was like RFK shit.
Yeah, it sounded like RFK.
I got more.
All right.
So Eryximachus takes his place so he can recuperate. And then Eryximachus comes and talks about harmony. And his muse is the muse of music. The physician's muse is the muse of the sick, right? What's going on here? This story is not as old as they're telling us, because the play with the words and the punnery is not nearly 2,000 years old. That's what I'm getting out of it. But let me tell you something. Today is the 4th day of Navaratri. Today is the day of Kushmanda. Today is the day of the muse of comedy.
Whoa.
Nice.
That's
and
awesome.
Here we are chilling with Owen Benjamin.
That's awesome.
The synchronicity is through the roof. And you're telling me that you had to go outside because you had a hard time with your breath before the presentation? Dude, this synchromistic stuff, it's completely acausal. It's completely acausal. And I'm not here to answer for it, but I will tell you what I'm seeing. We are walking in a very mystical realm. And these magics are ancient. They're ancient.
Slick Dissident on Cash App. Send this guy Cash App super chats.
Buy him a coffee.
Dude, I see like the retarded sinks. Like, for example, a Mexican tried to steal my money, and I did this amazing thing, like just giving it all away for free. And then I go on Google, and it was like, Google always has their shit that they put on the front. It was a fucking Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's like not deep or profound. It's just that happens all the time. Just a Mexican guy right on Google.
Yeah, I'm really stoked about the finding that the Greeks are actually relating back to the Hindus. But I'll tell you, so tomorrow is the day of the tragedian, and the muse of tragedy is Melpomene, and she's a sad state of affairs. She's also number 5 is an observer in the Enneagram. So that's on tomorrow. And then after that comes it's actually the missing seat. There's an empty spot in the symposium, seat number 6, which is actually the loyalists. This is where people who believe everything they hear, people who think that this story is 2,000 years old, that's the loyalist seat. That's the yes sayer. Seat number 6 is say yes. The yes sayers are seat number 6. And then seat number 7 is Socrates himself. And Socrates, he's the one holding the bloody sickle, which is actually the question mark today. And it is the question mark that is the remover of obstacles, the remover of ignorance. And I think day number 7, we should be looking for some fireworks to really pop off. Should get bloody on day 7.
Tomorrow's 5.
Wow. So when's the lunar eclipse?
Okay, great. Okay, thank you for getting me back on track.
Yeah.
So then day number 8 is Alcibiades, and a lot of people know the story of Alcibiades. He's a challenger, he's a controller, he's a lusty one, he's out of control. He wasn't invited. He's an interloper to the party, which is very quintessential Scorpion energy. We're in the season of betrayal right now with Scorpion. But then day number 9 is rounds it all out. The balanced peacekeeper, the resolution, the synthesis is day number 9. But also day number 9 at the end of Navaratri is also United Nations Day.
Ooh,
Whoa.
UN Day, the people that run the world.
The United Nations Day is at the end of Navaratri. So Friedrich Nietzsche's birthday starts Navaratri, and United Nations Day is the end of Navaratri. And then I think it's only 4 days after that is the lunar eclipse pops off. And so we are in a very sensitive time. So for people to be jacking your money, Owen, I'm not making excuses for them, but they don't see what I see. It's highly cosmic. It's highly.
Dude, I don't even care. Like, I don't take it personally.
Right.
I just thought, like, that's why, like, I have a mentality where it's like, well, what can I do with this offering? Like, okay, I can make this public display of how funny it is to give all the money back and like what really matters in life. And so it's always good. Even like the coyote teaches you to build a fence. Like without the coyote, there's no fence. It's like, I have no problem with people popping off and getting wacky because I now know that they're never a threat. They're like, okay, so how do you use this energy to do something cool with it? And so I see the same thing with the World War. It's like people are freaking out and scared, but it's such an opportunity, like a reshuffling of the deck and burning of the dead wood, and everybody that's in this crazy mentality where someone else is thinking for them. Like a bunch of Jays want 250 grand of free tax money. So they just like run into hell. It's like, you know, it's sad, but it's not it's natural. It's like, it's a revealing. And if you're like aware of all this stuff and you've accepted the burden of self-thought and sovereignty and whatnot, it's huge, huge opportunities. Like we could almost take over entertainment. They're getting so dumb. Like, it's like the stand-up specials now on Netflix are so like people in the comments, and mine, I hadn't been on stage in 4 years. They're like, holy shit, I haven't seen comedy like this in years. Like, this is my favorite set. And it wasn't even that great. It's just great compared to everything, all the shit they're making now because they're all paid by Pfizer. So they all have to be anti-human. Abortion's great. Vaccine, anti-vaxxers are stupid. Molesting kids is great. You know, sodomy. But so they have to do that because they're all funded by these Malthusian psychopaths. So it's like, okay, if you just don't do that, you're now the best comedian in the world. You know, if you just don't have poisoned soil, you're now the best farmer in the world. It's like, it's laughable, the opportunities right now. If people just like hold their head and they don't freak out like a herd, you know?
Bar's pretty low.
Well, one thing too, Owen, is with the lowest common denominator, gun for hire, mercenary type of comedy, it pretty much excludes any opportunity for community-based inside jokes.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I think, if like your special is great, but if you are somebody that gets the inside jokes that are part of it, it takes it to a whole new level. It's way more entertaining. And you just don't get, there's no comedians that have authentic community like that, that I'm aware of anywhere that I would align with. So I really appreciate that aspect of it.
Well, yeah, because I'm not going for the whole world. I'm going for my guys. So it's like, I remember in Hollywood way back and even like 2012, some of these comedies were so bad. And I talked to one of these big guys and I'm like, why is it so bad? And they're like, oh, we're trying to appeal to China. So I'm like, you guys now have to be so bland. They're like, what? You get hit in the dick, you fall downstairs, you slip on a banana peel. Like literally that's where we're at now. So the niche is actually great. Like a lot of my favorite companies are not made for everybody. They're like highly specific companies that, you know, like I hosted the Art Director Guild Awards with like Leonardo DiCaprio and all this stuff. And I crush it. And afterwards I get all these like offers and attention from people through my management. And one of them was Kohler. And so Kohler wanted me to do a commercial for them because they saw me at the thing. So they fly me to Wisconsin, Kohler, Wisconsin. They own the whole town. It's a private company. It's not on the stock exchange. They're so mind-blowingly rich, and no one even thinks about it. They make like toilets and sinks. It's Kohler. They're not on the stock market. They're not a public company. Not only do they have no debt, they literally own an entire town in Wisconsin. It's like the robber baron days. And I was like, that's what I want. Like, I want to be Kohler. I don't want to be Sony or Pepsi or Coke, where you're like this blind coyote jumping at any opportunity because you're in so much debt. You're like enslaved by the devil. It's like Kohler is just, they make toilets and they're fucking crushing. And so I've gotten to see behind the curtain with a lot of like where real money and real power is. And it's not in this like be loved by the whole world, plunge into infinite debt, be so famous everyone knows who you are. I'd way rather be the guy that gets recognized once a day, once every other day, but it's like a real connection versus like everyone knows you and just wants to smell your hair. Like that's a nightmare.
The new model, like, you know, I don't know what you think, Gabe or Chance, because you guys are the astrology pros, and I know there's a lot of
Topher would be, but he believes in sidereal. So
that's real sky for all you fuck ups that only look at computers.
Well, this Aquarian age concept though, like if you just take it from just like from the sign, like we're moving into a more community based, we're leaving the Piscean age, which was all about authority, looking up to figures, being in big cliques. Now we're moving into a decentralized community based sort of mentality. And this is like what we're seeing happening. And that makes a lot of sense for entertainment. Right. And so, you know, there's no need for one size fits all entertainment anymore. And that's what's beautiful about what we're all doing is we're creating our own communities and we're thriving in that sense. So, and it lends to a lot more laughs too, when you have inside jokes and you have like actual witty humor and not just, I mean, there were some good comedians in the 90s and stuff in the 80s, but, man, I've laughed way harder with my homies when we're going deep into some nonsense that nobody would understand. Like
totally
belly laughing, you know, like this last weekend I was with guys and we were saying jokes that no one would understand, but I was dying on the floor laughing. So there's something to that, man, for sure.
Dude, I used to love touring all over the world. You know, I've performed everywhere, and it's like each area. I used to want to do a documentary just on like different regional comedy and like what, you know, you go to like Wales, it's totally different. You hang out with the local comedians, and the Irish and Belfast is so different than Dublin. And America has that too, but America's a little more homogenized. I don't know if Europe's gotten more like that, but I remember just in England, like each area had wildly different comedy sensibilities. And then you go to Canada and, you know, it's just fascinating, man. It's like the real nature of people is through comedy. It's like, you can see what a culture is and what they value. You know, like a lot of white comics would tank in Miami and I'd crush because they liked more alpha comedy. They don't like dry. They don't want a hipster being like, I was at the laundromat, it said whites only, so I said they were racist. It's like, they're like, "K, fuck you." But if you're up there like doing alpha, like more like present, yeah, like they don't want to hear like this like hipster. They're like, move, you know, life. But if you got a giant just being like, you know, that like a joke they'd love. I'm like, dude, I got a couple of Hispanic friends. Instead of saying ha ha, you guys are like ja 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 ja. And I'm like, fuck, I'm killing it. And your grandmother's always trying to kiss me. I'm like, bro, such a great family. I think your grandma wants to fuck me. And they're like dying laughing because it's like ballsy. It's like going. And so I used to always ask my agents, like, put me with Spanish people. I used to open for Julio Iglesias, and no one else wanted to do it. They all wanted they're like, you know, liberal, like, you know, I was, and I'm like, no.
And
dude,
your musical,
yeah, like I would just do like, I do a bit called All the Spanish I Know, and it would just be like, Donde el baño? Aquí, señor. And I just keep saying random
That
shit.
was my favorite part of the special was like the unplanned Donde el baño.
Yeah. And they love that shit. They love like the stupid gringo that you want to be friends with, you know? And then you go to San Francisco and it's all about, but I used to crush with them. Like the gays love being mocked and treated like shit. This is the one thing that people don't understand about gays. Just fucking ripping on gays. They're like squealing with self-hatred and joy. And then you go to like the redneck, it's all different. Then you go to the Mormons in Utah and I do like a private corporate event where it had to just be like they would laugh to show virtue to each other because I'd be so clean and virtuous that they would like, ha ha ha. It's like, I relate to that because I'm so virtuous. It's like, I was fascinated. I do all this in 1 week. I'd be like, Utah, Miami, San Diego, New York City, all the Jews. And it's, and then that's why it never worked on me when they tried their spells. Like, oh, racist, sexist, anti-Semitic. I'm like, if I'm so sexist, why are these chicks all trying to have sex with me? And they're like, oh, thank you. It's like, if I'm so anti-Semitic, why are these like Jews all hanging out with me after pretending I'm their dad? Like, what are you talking about?
And I think you got it. You weren't coming with ego and a planned set. It's like when I DJ, it's a two-way street. You got to feed off who you're talking to, who your audience is.
Yeah.
I never plan a set when I DJ. I come in and I got to be on my toes and I got to be feeding off what the audience, what the dance floor is doing. Otherwise, you're going to eat a dick.
That's not what Gardner does. When Gardner massages, he has one mode. He doesn't listen.
Just one.
He's never grounded. And he just digs. And he just wants to make them feel pain.
Elbows.
Just fuck you. And if they don't like it, it's their fault.
I've experienced. You're telling the truth. I had to super chat because of it. He did that to me.
That's true. It's true.
He makes sure he doesn't ground. He doesn't listen, and it's all about him.
That's right. No.
For those of you with vaccine damage, I'm just kidding.
Did you massage at the Bertaria thing, Topher, or were you just kicking it?
No, I was slinging char the entire time.
Slinging a char.
You're burning it, slinging it, crushing it.
Slinging it. Yeah, it was char Binks time. It was the entire time. And I was kicking it with my man Chance.
I heard the event.
Yeah, it was great seeing Chance. That was awesome.
The event was amazing. Congrats, Owen. I heard from a lot of our community that they had a blast there.
Thanks. Yeah, it was like, because I've been getting hammered for taking that risk of crowdfunding for land. It was just opened me up for like every accusation in the book. And to see like that it actually worked and all of it was true was like so good for me. Because I really, even though I can be confrontational, I really don't like just having people talk shit to me. It's like not very fun. And so I took a big risk with this idea of crowdfunding land. And it turned out so awesome that it was a big weight off my shoulders.
It was very healing for me in the sense that I thought I hated stadiums. And I thought I hated music festivals, and I don't hate either of them. What I hate is inebriation, like mass inebriation.
Exactly.
And now that I know what that vibration actually is, I've actually gone back in my consciousness and been like, I've been able to let go of a lot of stories that I was holding on to, being in these huge settings where there's just tons of inebriation, that total Dionysian, like chaos indulgence thing. And it was just so nice being with people that were just simple and like the simple pleasures of life, of family and friends. And just like, it was just so simple.
Well, dude, like when I say demonic infestation, I'm not really being hyperbolic. I used to be a big festival guy, like music festivals, really liked EDM festivals. There weren't any paragliders coming down and stabbing us or anything, but
you're going to have to pay that gay away, but
I know I'm saving up for the gay away. Right. But like, okay, there was a time where this kind of thing had happened more than once, but the most specific story I can think of is there was a dude I was having a personal conflict with in my life. He was not at this festival, but while I was at this event, some random drunk person came up to me out of the crowd, like zeroed in on me, came up to me there, like a zombie shuffle, super intoxicated. And they said to me the exact, like, very specific weird catchphrase that this other dude who I was having problems with, and he was a drug addict, would say. So like two people in a drug state, it's like whatever the demon was jumped into this other person just to come try to intimidate me. And that's when I knew. I was like, okay, there's more. There's a deeper game going on here, especially with these big mass Dionysian intoxication events. It's an energy harvesting thing that goes on.
Yeah, the Muslims say the spirit of the shaitan swims through Adam like I can't remember what it is, but it's basically like schools of fish through water. Like if you open yourself up to that demonic energy, it can just swim through you, and I 100% agree with you. I've seen trolls come at me with stuff so specific and so private that I'm like, how did you know to say that to me right now? Like, that's so wild.
Mhm.
The cleanest festival I've ever been to. Yeah, and like to the point where children were playing everywhere. And yeah, I don't like crowds either because I used to have to be drunk to be in crowds. I'm like, I have to drink 5 drinks or I'm gonna hate this place.
Right.
And the Bertari Festival is the exact opposite. If anyone was drunk, they looked retarded. Jacobat. He's a good guy, though. I love Jacobat.
I'm inspired to tell my story of when I got cursed.
Let's hear it.
This is and this was before, I have improved my kung fu since this story. I've learned so much since then. So everybody listening, you learn from my mistakes here. I was invited. So I studied capoeira for almost 20 years. My instructor invited me, so secondhand invitation, to another instructor's dojo in Denver. Big shot. This guy's got a full operation. He's got schools in Brazil he goes to, and he's got a school in Denver. He's a big operation. So my instructor invited me to come along with him to this roda, which literally means hoedown. And we show up in our tribe. We have a specific style. We wear shoes when we play. And capoeira is Afro-Brazilian ritualistic breakdance fighting. And so there's music, there's acrobatics, and there's a lot of dangerous risk. And the longer you play, the more dangerous the game becomes. Well, before the music even starts, the host of the party, the lead instructor for this school I'm at, he eyeballs me and he looks at me and he like says, and this is all in Portuguese, I can barely understand what he's saying. He's like, "What's up with those shoes, man? Why you got shoes on?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's okay. They're sanctified." And he's like, "What's that mean?" And he looks to his friend and he's like, "What's sanctified mean?" And I'm like, "No, they're clean. They don't have any energy from the street. These are ritualistically pure." And he's like, and then he looks over at my instructor and he's like, "Is this guy cool? Should I let him be here?" And my instructor looks at me like, "Who are you?" my own teacher is like, "I don't know." So I get the nod of approval. I play for about an hour, and then this lead instructor asshole, he stops the music and he calls me out and he pulls me into the ritual. And he starts the whole thing over. He sings a new litany song. It's called the Ladainha. And while he's singing, he's making these grand gestures, and he's giving me backhands, like inadvertent smacks to the back of my head. I'm like dodging moves that I didn't even know were coming. And in the middle of the game, it's about 5 minutes long. In the middle of the game, he puts these weird fucking nujitsu moves, one on each one of my knees. And I didn't notice it at the time. He didn't touch me. He just puts the hand signal towards both of my knees. And I finish the game, everything's fine. But as soon as I walk out of the circle, my knees go completely loose.
Whoa.
They no longer lock into place. And I'm walking weird. I'm just not walking right. And I try to stand there for the last hour and a half of the game, and I'm like, what the fuck happened to my knees? And why did it happen when I walked out of the circle? And I now know that you're actually supposed to close off and leave the game in the game. You don't bring it with you out in the world. You're supposed to close off the ceremony and say a prayer of cleansing before you walk out of that endeavor. So I took that energy with me unknowingly. I was way over my head from the jump. I now have learned all of these things, but here's what's funny, not funny. I walked like I had hip dysplasia for almost 4 months after that, because my knees, I had infrapatellar bursitis as a result. But that's psychosomatic. Sure, I'll accept that maybe it's psychosomatic. That's fine. But the weird thing is that every time for years that I would walk past his dojo out in the street while he's in the middle of performing in his dojo, totally involved in his ceremony, his eyes would pop up and lock eyes with me from inside his dojo, and I'm out in the street. And it happened 3 times where I notice it. So I start telling my friends, like, okay, guys, this is weird. He's catching a vibe from me from all the way outside of the dojo. So my friends are like, okay, this month we're going to go on the other side of the street where he shouldn't even be able to see you. And you look at him. So we're trying to be experimental with it. And I'm not going to look at him. And my friends are going to keep their eyes on this lead instructor and see if he responds. As soon as I came into view, he looks right across the street and looks at me. And I'm walking, not looking at him. And I'm asking my friends, is he looking at me? Is he looking at me? And all my friends are like, he's fucking looking at you, bro. He's looking at you. And so,
are you guys cool now?
No.
That's wild.
So he did the knee thing to you. He took your kneecaps. You know,
Both
that's going for home, you know, in the Maseroth.
Isn't that something?
The Capricornian home energy. You were in his house and he was letting you know you're in his fucking house.
You nailed it, Topher. That's what I wanted to finish with. Thank you, brother. You get to the heart of the matter.
He's the authority in that place, which is the Capricorn idea.
He lays the terrain. He set the ground.
The knee Capricorn.
You got to control the territory.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll tell you about a curse at a later date that I got. That was really fucking weird.
Fellas, I'm getting summoned. I got to roll, but this has been a blast.
Yeah, let's do it again sooner, man.
BB.
I love hanging out with you guys. Let's talk soon.
Yeah,
I gotta fix
be
the
good.
fence.
Thanks for coming on.
See you,
I love it.
OwenBenjamin.com. Check out the Noble Savage, comedy special.
I gotta check it out. I've been meaning to watch it.
You should. It's worth it. It's free now too.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's smart. That's
well, now that why don't you tell us about the curse, Topher? What else we got going on?
Dude, so everybody in Costa Rica, like part of your initiation when you go to Costa Rica, especially the southern zone, is to go visit the Bureke Indians. And they're the only indigenous people that are left from the Talamanca mountain range. And what they do is they paint these masks. And these masks are made out of balsa wood, and they carve all these ornate like animals and everything. It's almost like a 3-dimensional ayahuasca journey. It's like, that's what it feels like. And so these masks, when I first started going down there in the early 2000s, these masks were like very like for the art and the cutting and the shaving of the balsa wood and just the colors that they would use. They were severely underpriced. Like, it was incredible art, and the detail back then was just amazing. And so a British friend of mine was buying them in bulk, and she was always going up there. My old in-laws were in town. We're like, hey, let's go up to the Burekes. And I was like, perfect, cool, let's do it. And so we drive. They were only like an hour and a half away. We go up into the mountains and we enter their settlement, and it's disgusting. It's like, I felt like I was back in India again. Like, it was like tenement housing, like government tenement housing there. That was all like precast concrete buildings. There was no green anywhere, even though they were on the top of this mountain that was like a rainforest. It was really a depressed site. And we were going to take the tour and have lunch there and everything like that. And I was the guy who was driving everybody, and we're walking, and there's this old woman. Like, she's like, I mean, she was probably like 50 feet away from me. And she turns and looks right at me, and she points to her eyes, and she does this. And then I just like lost all the energy in my body. This is like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm a morning person. Like I did not know what happened. Like, I felt like I was dazed, and then I just went and laid down. They did the tour, they ate, they bought everything. 3 hours later, they're like, I couldn't drive. So my old father-in-law, he was driving, and we got off. The second we got off the reservation, I was revitalized. Like, I was so out of it that literally they laid me across like, I couldn't sit up. I was laid out. That's the best way of saying it. I was just laid out. I was laid out in their cafeteria. I was laid out in the car. The second we got off of the reservation, I just perked right up. And I'll never forget that old lady. Like, she was in the road, and for whatever reason, she hit me with some juju that, like, at that time in my life, I had no way of processing. It just dropped me. And then I had a soul retrieval like maybe a year or two later, and they were going through all the different traumas in my life, and that was like a very severe trauma. I had no idea. Like, my it was a soul retrieval with one of my totems, and like the totem animal came in and was just totally taking off all of these hooks. So I drew the ire of probably like one of the more I don't know, disgruntled elders in that community. Like, she didn't like our presence there at all. And I got it.
Mega powerful. I would call it like psychic vampirism, in a way, because of the fact that you were like drained. But what's kind of interesting is it was almost, I don't know. I feel like when you do that type of stuff, there's a cost to the person doing it.
Well,
But
she looked like hell. Like, she wasn't like this vital. She looked like the prototypical hag or witch.
right.
That's what she looked like. She was in all black. She was walking across the street. She was like all crumpled. And when she turned at me, she had like, I would never want to be in her like vestige of humanity like that. That wouldn't be my choice ever.
I had an experience less intense than that where I met this. I've told this on the show probably before, but I was at a party and there, I like to just mix it up and talk about heavy duty spiritual woo energy stuff. Always have. And there was this guy that was, he's very dark in all ways. And
Black?
he
Black guy?
yeah, and he kept getting, elbowing his way into the circles I was in and redirecting the conversation towards himself and like bringing the other people's attention to the idea that like he knows stuff that nobody else knows and he's very special and he's got the secret knowledge. So listen to him. And at one point, I kept just moving away from him and setting up my own energetic perimeter somewhere else. But at one point I felt I was talking to somebody and all of a sudden I felt this. It felt like somebody had thrown a dart, like at a dartboard, but the dartboard was the back of my head. Like there was an impact and it was sharp, hit me right in the back of the head. And I turned, just reflexively in the direction where it came from. And there's this dude, he's like looking right at me, like waiting for me to turn around and notice. And at that point I was like, no, dude, no. And I just like from across the party, I said like, fuck no, something like that. And then, did my intentional putting up of an energetic barrier and like very clear, like you're not in this bubble, you're out there. And so no more of that kind of shenanigan happened, but it was kind of like playful. He just wanted me to know, like, I've got black magic.
He could throw his cheese. I guess you would say my mentor in Qigong, and he was the chiropractor I worked for 3 years. He would do this move every morning. And before I saw him doing this move, we used to call him penis fingers because you look at his hands and it would just look like he had these giant dick fingers, right? But his hands were like the size of my hands. They weren't huge, but it was like there was a lensing effect that was going on. And I was like, wait a minute, this makes no sense. Because he would see 40 clients a day. And he would do that 4 times a week. So he had 160 people that he touched. And so he would just work the chi, and he would like just build it and build it and build it. And he taught me the whole surrogate hand technique. And when you would put the surrogate hands on, the energetic, it was like looking at your hand through water. Everything from an energy perspective.
I can see the penis fingers in your hands right now.
There's a lot of chi in my hands. There is. There is. But like when you do that move and you just match it to your breath and you can feel the ball grow. And people can throw that. Like you can take that ball as like as an energetic pattern and you can toss it. Like
I could I've done this before. It's been a long time since I did it, but I could have you put your hands like this in front of you, and I could put my hands outside of your hands, and I can make your hands open up by expanding that ball.
Yeah.
And I can push them back towards each other. And you would be like, you know, Topher, you wouldn't maybe be that freaked out by it, but people would be freaked out at how like, I am not telling my hands to move right now. How are they moving? And I'm like, that's what Qigong is supposed to feel like.
Exactly.
When you're moving your energy with the breath, your physical body movements are actually almost like automatic, like they're on a track. And I think that's how the whole meridian system was even sort of discovered, was that spinning your energy through certain channels in your body would cause certain movements to just naturally happen along with your breath. I don't know. That's just more theory, but yeah, that stuff's super real.
You could kill somebody if you wanted to. Like if you were sufficiently energized, I almost killed a person with my mind. Like no joke. There was a very sacred ceremony I was in. I'm not going to say what that ceremony was because it was a private affair, but this person kept interjecting into it, and I had warned him before the ceremony. I said, if you pull any of your shit, I'm shutting you down. So I forewarned him. I had authority in that space.
You had noticed him.
Yeah, because it was my ceremony and it was for me and my family, and he was wanting to interject his BS in it. And I fucking gave the dude I gave him a heart attack. Because I could feel him in my consciousness, because our body is just one aspect of our local self, but I could feel this penetrating energy, and I just literally shielded it. And then I just it was like I was Darth Vader. I was just collapsing his field. I was literally just crushing his field. And he ended up leaving with his wife. And I got an email from him 2 weeks after the fact saying, I have never felt like I was going to die before in a situation like that. And like he had a decently high level of consciousness. Like he knew I was totally shutting him down. And that's the thing, is if you have sufficient determination and sufficient focus, because what I actually did was I bifurcated my consciousness so that part of me could be completely in the ceremony. The other aspect of my consciousness was just crushing him. And I had
other definition of crushing there.
I had zero qualms about it.
Yeah.
You were probably in the total stillness, right? Total stillness. In other words, you were completely calm, and where like my theory is on this kind of stuff is that not that he opted in for it, but if he had the proper determination, desire, and feelings that were appropriate, he could have blocked it. But obviously he wasn't coming from that place where you were. So it's not like it's kung fu, like you were saying earlier, Gabe, right? Like if he was in the right place, in the right mind, in the right, and in the right of the law, he could have deflected that, but clearly he wasn't.
Yeah,
there's techniques for this too, like psychic jamming. What you're talking about is sort of like psychic jamming, but it's more like psychic smothering what you were doing. But say you're, if you ever want to try this, you're with a group of people and there's one person who keeps stealing the talking stick and won't stop talking about themselves, or they're kind of annoying or something like that. You can innocently play this game where while they're speaking and while they have the attention, you just act like, normal outwardly, but you can project at them repeating in your mind like a dumb song or something, where like in your mind you're making this song that you're just playing on repeat so loud, and you're putting it in their mind. And it's just something funny to do. I think it's harmless, but allegedly this will work even on abductions. The fairies or the greys come after you. If you do psychic jamming, it can disrupt the process. I think that people inadvertently do that whenever they start like repeating the Lord's Prayer or saying, "Oh Jesus, oh Jesus, oh Jesus," when the boogeyman's coming to get them. So what you're describing though, like this is very real. There's just a factor of truth of nature that whatever the more energized and coherent mind is overrides the other minds in the space.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Because I did that in sports, like being in a stadium with 100,000 people, feeling their energy, and I literally was like an assassin. I was like, oh, really? Like, I remember the first time I understood what I could do from a consciousness perspective. I was 17 years old. We had never beat this crosstown rival. They always put 15 guys Division 1, and we were just like this middling pack high school. And I was just so fucking tired of losing to Dillard High School. And I'm just a little fucking white boy kicker. Like, well, what say do I have in a game? I crushed that team with my mind. I had 3 of the longest field goals of the year that year. I had an onside kick, a fake field goal for a touchdown. And literally out of all the people that they interviewed after the game, we won, and then we ended up beating them for like the next 10 years straight. They interviewed me, the little kicker, and it was just because I was so determined. There was like nothing that was going to allow them to win in my mind. There was nothing, zero, nothing. I didn't care what happened in the game. We were going to fucking win that game. And like, it takes that level of determination in certain aspects. But if you have determination, dude, fortune favors the bold. Fortune favors that energetic pattern of just being like, I fucking put the time in. I have the focus. This is what's happening.
Well, most people are operating on this is like, I think, an aspect of Hollywood or whatever, but most people are living life like it's a movie they're watching, right? As opposed to a story they're writing. And whenever you project the intention with like 100% full belief and conviction, things happen. You become the new pole of that particular sphere of whatever, like, whatever the boundaries are of what you're currently aware of, whether it's the size of a stadium or just a small room, you become the pole. You become the center point, the spine of that particular body, regardless of how much is in it. If you are, and sometimes there maybe could be, I've noticed this back to like my music festival days, but I would get in like psychic wars with dark wizards in a crowd where, they're trying to be the center pole and they're trying to attract all the energy to them. And I'm trying to be the center pole, and I'm succeeding in circulating all the energy around so that it's healthy, so that it's in flow. Whereas, the others are like doing a black hole thing versus I'm doing like the vortex. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you can command that with your desire and your presence in a place, like coming in, or all of a sudden like a brightness comes in from one individual just because they're crushing it so hard in their life. And they bring that with them. And the reason why they're crushing so hard in their life is because they understand how all this works, vibration, resonance, right? And all that, and all the harmony that you can emit from that. So, you see that with certain individuals, they have this charisma about them, right? This biocharisma, Topher. And I like to admit that as much as I can. It's like we're all batteries, right? And we can bring in that power and that electricity into us, and sort of like the electroculture rod, as you're saying, Chance, like the rod, all of the different frequencies, we shape those, we transmute those. And then I think a lot of going back to like the doers in the bodies, as you're saying, they are watching the movies. A lot of those drunk people in the stands, I think, makes life easier for us to just sort of control the reality matrix at that place and that time, and then in that temporal place and that marker there. For my life, for instance, like there's all these crazy synchronicities that are happening that are leading to successes. And I feel like I'm in my own little movie sometimes, and I know we're all connected, and I feel bad for people that don't have those experiences. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a bummer, man. Like for me, it's wild every day something like that happens. to me. And I think a lot of people don't get to experience that because, like you're saying, Chance, they're just letting the causal forces and the, you know, the soup of reality, they're just like a pea in it, where we're the actual ladle stirring it. So
literally be the ladle.
yeah, be the ladle with the gravy, bro. That should be a shirt.
So true.
That's gotta be a bear shirt, dude. Be the ladle.
Can I actually like draw this back to Gabriel, your symbology around
Do you have to even ask?
specifically this last eclipse, this annular eclipse? Because I've seen that you've been doing I have to say you're very prolific on Telegram, but you've been having this one constellation highlighted within a lot of the animations that you've been putting.
I believe you're speaking of Altair.
Altair, okay. So can you give, because this, I don't know what you guys experienced the week up to the eclipse, but the week up to the
A
eclipse,
lot of tension.
yeah, nobody, every single person I spoke to,
Fatigue and tension. Yeah.
in their particular circle, everything was copacetic, but everybody was processing tension. Like without a doubt, they couldn't sleep. There was just weird shit like in the psychic space. The annular eclipse happens, the ring, you know, the eye.
Yes.
And then it was like, okay, the tension isn't there anymore. That was just I'm not projecting that onto you guys. I'm just saying that's what I experienced. So I really wanted to know from your perspective, what was the symbology of like the spellcraft coming into the full annular eclipse, and then what did you experience?
Uploads upon uploads to like, so when I found the Ara Altair constellation in its exact geometric patterning in the stars, so many things came to me at once. It's so many things, more than I can actually keep up with on my channel.
Can I really quick, just for the kids in the back?
Yeah.
The Ara constellation is also known as the altar. It has a lot of, it's basically like an offering altar in astrotheology. So, you know, when Noah gets off the ark and he makes the burnt sacrifice, or the altar that Abraham is going to sacrifice Isaac on, or in Greek mythology where the gods made their offerings to form an alliance to defeat the Titans. Anytime you hear mythology where there's some kind of offering, it's telling you that you're somewhere in the vicinity of the Ara constellation, where the story that you're hearing about, the characters involved are part of that stellar tableau where you could see them in the night sky going alongside with altar.
Right. And also changing your mind, changing your attitude, changing your mode, doing something you didn't expect, and mind altering substances. All of these things, these points of change where the plot turns on a dime from a single event, usually a sacrifice, or something is given for something to be received. So I'll just kind of try to stay as chronological as I can. The Boötes constellation is the Great Void. I have been seeing that it is hidden out in the heptad. It's a mirror. There are two Boötes voids in the heptad of the Enneagram, which makes perfect sense because in Greek mysticism, to be inspired, you have to get out of your own way. You have to make a vacancy of your own self-expectation so that you can learn, so you can take in knowledge and be inspired by what you learn. And so it actually makes sense for the dynamic changes of the heptad of the Enneagram to actually be in the shape of Boötes void, kind of mirroring itself. It's as though it's looking at itself across the circle. And that was enough. That I was like, this is nifty. There's actually the spirit of inspiration is in the dynamics of the Enneagram. But then I found out that there is also the aura altair shape. It's doing the same thing where it's mirroring itself, and it's this kind of strange angle, and it's perfect. At first, I was using the constellation upside down, where it was a real close fit, where I was like, oh, this is really close to the Aura Altair constellation, but then I flipped it upside down. I used the other side of the constellation, and it was a perfect fit. And so then I go, and guys, I look at 9/11, the steel beam that is melted at a perfect angle is the exact shape of the Aura Altair constellation. And how many ways does that fit? Let me tell you. We were all altered.
Mm-hmm.
It changed history.
It was an offering, a burnt offering.
Sacrifices and loose change. Loose Change was the name of the documentary that brought everybody into this outrageous realization of a whole new age, a whole new beginning, a turning of, in the beginning of our culture that we are all partaking of right now.
Slick, do you have the ability to pop in headphones? I've been meaning to tell you, your mic's a little poppy, and we're all hearing you. We're all happy to hear what you have to say, even with a little bit of crackle. But, you know, if I'm being a good host and do my due diligence, I should have you plug in. I know, dude, we got to have a tech review day like tomorrow. Can we get that going?
Yeah, buddy, please.
Okay,
I gotta get going, guys. I got fam calling, but I'll say I was at the Eclipse event at this farm, and we were pretty, I know we were pretty central under it. So we had a full ring experience, and definitely Chance and I were briefly talking about this earlier today, and I definitely didn't have the glasses on for a bit. And it was really interesting because there was an energetic feeling around it for sure. There was a calming feeling, and it felt like I was in a Terrence Malick film. The
Thin Red Line.
Yeah, like in the Chasing the Sun, it was like this total just magic hour. But when you looked at when it was like the prime, ring, and I was looking without the glasses, it was interesting. I couldn't see. All I could see was the sun still. I couldn't see anything blocking it. It was a little bit lighter, but and then I had a couple people that had different experience. Everybody had a different relational experience to it. Some people saw, like a beam come down towards them. So everybody had a qualitatively, subjectively different experience. And I was there like at a festival, like at a conference thing. Very sober. It was very Texas. There was a dude literally singing live Johnny Cash, Ring of Fire. Very Texas. But my experience, my just personal, subjective experience was definitely there's definitely felt, because I was, the 2017 one, Chance, I was there up in Oregon. I wasn't at the Symbiosis gathering. I don't know if that's where you were at when you had your. Okay.
No, it was here in Missouri, actually.
Oh, okay, because you
did there's a festival here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we had Totality in Salem, Missouri. There's this weird thing that happened with that eclipse where the places that had the view of totality also had a town called Salem in the line of totality.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Don't know what that was about. That was in 2017. That was a weird day.
That was a weird one.
I saw orbs come out of the ground. It was all kinds of shit happened that day.
That was a weird one for me too. As we were like 98% totality here in Oregon, and there was a lot of weird phenomenon. This one I didn't have that. I had more of a peaceful, sort of joyous feeling, and like everything's all good. And that was kind of what the theme of the rest of the event was. Everything's going to be all good. But it was interesting, as some people said they saw the Star of David and the crescent of like the Islamic crescent together. So, and then a friend of mine posted that picture it's on my Instagram, or it was on my story. Someone actually captured that. So the fractality, the sort of Yeah, projection, right? As we talk about in astrology, projecting out and it projecting back. There was definitely a lot of interactive projector stuff going on. And of course, we're talking about human design at this event too. So there was a bunch of projectors there.
Imagine that.
But I was a manifesting generator, so I didn't.
MG in the house.
Yeah, MGs. Of course, you're an
Pure
MG,
egoic manifester.
nice.
What?
And Gabe
makes
is just 100% undefined over there.
He's an anomalous. He's anomalous, of course.
Gabe's the reflector. He's the reflector of the group.
But anyways, we will be going back to that same place on April because there's another one in April. I guess that's the full totality there under the farm where we're going back. So I don't know if that's common where you have like almost totality and then same place again, totality again the next year. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm enjoying the ride. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. I wish I could do this every week. Kids are calling me right now, so I got to jam.
Well, man, you're always welcome to jump in. It was really cool to hear that you wanted to say hi, and I'm glad you actually were along for like the whole ride. You're always welcome around here. That goes for you, Topher, and of course you, Gabriel. You know that.
Of course.
I'm looking.
Yeah,
forward
you
to
still got
catching Owens,
whatever your
watch it
deal
tonight.
is. It's all not working. So maybe we'll just go back to the first thing with the crackle. So yeah, Mike, Alpha Vedic is where you can catch DJ Mike Winter. You guys all out there probably know that.
I'll be in Orlando, outside of Orlando at Jim Gale's farm next month at another event. I've been like starting to do more of these DJ sessions out at these cool events. I'm really loving it. So I'll be playing at Jim Gale's farm, 11/11, and it goes from 11 till 11. So I'll be going on at 11. And I'll be playing. And I'll be playing till 12/11. I don't know. Maybe I'll play to 1/11. I don't know. It's like I guess I'm doing the after party. He's building like this. Jim Chance. You've had him on.
Oh yeah. He's like the most fucking optimistic sundog I've ever had the pleasure to interview. I love that guy.
You were actually supposed to bunk with him at Music and Sky. Remember last year he couldn't like get out of Texas.
Oh, I fully remember that. Yeah, I wound up getting a whole glamping super tent like teepee to myself. It was awesome. Although, if I had to camp with somebody I'd never met in person before, Jim Gale would probably be like the top of the list of somebody that you could assume would be a good time.
Yeah, he would just be so positive the whole time, man. Like, hey, let's go do this now. Let's go back to the tent and check it out.
Man, Music and Sky was so awesome. The people camping directly around me were Eileen and Alex Zach. Eileen McCusick and Alex Zach. You can't beat that. Yeah. And we had some good chats.
Well, if you guys can make it out to Orlando, because I'm loving meeting people in person. Eileen's going to probably be there now. She's going. Alex Zach's talking. Andrew Kaufman's going to be there. And sounds like Kelly Brogan's going just to hang out too. So I don't know how far of a drive that is for you guys, but if you just can cruise out for 11/11, it'd be rad to see you guys. So,
Mike, I got an 11/11 sync for you.
Okay.
11/11 is a mirror a K. A mirror a K. A mirror of K is 11/11. God bless America.
I was just thinking of my old rave days with mirrors of K, and I was like, "Where are you taking me, dude?"
This went over my head, Gabe. I was right over my head.
America, I got it. I got it.
America. You got the stripes, the white bands, the stripes.
Well, and that's what this event's about. It's like a Freedom America event. So there you go, bro. Okay, man. Love you guys. I'll see you next time. Cheers.
See you, Mike.
Yeah, man. Let's do it again sooner than later.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
So the altar, the Ara altar is the furnace. It's the hearth. It's extremely south. It's on the perimeter of Cygna Octantis, the South Pole zone. And there's a keeper of the hearth right there. Is the Indus constellation, is the character who is in charge of keeping that fire going. Yes, and And now it has many depictions. in many it has many shapes and forms that it takes. Sometimes it is a three-pronged just like a burner. Sometimes it has 3 feet, sometimes it's a block like this. And the keeper of this fire is the Indus constellation, generally in most astronomical expressions. But I find that character to be very anomalous, this keeper of the hearth. In Greek mythology, I think we're seeing both Hestia, and also I think we're seeing Tiresias. And Tiresias is the fella who he's walking along, he sees 2 snakes mating. He uses his staff to kill the female serpent, and he is metamorphosed into a woman for 7 years. And he lives as a nymphomaniac for 7 years. He's like, I'm going to get down while I got it. And he even has a child while he's a woman. And then he sees 2 snakes on the trail again. And this time he's like, I'm not going to use my staff. I'm going to stomp on him. And he stomps on the male serpent. And then he's metamorphosed back into a man again. And then he gets called in to be the arbiter or the mediator between Zeus and Hera. They're having an argument as to who enjoys intercourse more. Is it men or women?
And you see Indus here between the peacock and the swan, like between Zeus and Hera, essentially.
Very nice. Very nice. Yes. In his answer, now here's the thing. They sometimes and again, all these stories have different variations, and it's good to collect all the variations. But some will say that Zeus intimidated him. So Zeus's case was that women enjoy sex more, and Hera's case was that men enjoy sex more. And this was exemplified in Woody Allen. He had a film where the shrink asks the man during a therapy session, how often do you guys have sex? And Woody Allen's character, he's like, oh man, like hardly ever, maybe 3 times a week. And then the next scene, it's just the shrink and the woman, and the shrink is asking the same question. How often do you guys have sex? And she's like, all the damn time, like 3 times a week. and so that was a reiteration of this mythology. And so Tiresias, he takes Zeus's side because Zeus is scarier. But I like the version of the story where he says that women enjoy it. If sex is 10 parts of pleasure, women enjoy 9 parts of it, and men only enjoy 1 part of the rational proportion of sexual pleasure. Mm-hmm. But I like that answer.
And that's what they're taking when they clip the tip. They're taking that last 1 part.
Isn't that a thing? And they say that if men were not circumcised, we have 10 times more pleasure in an orgasm.
Wow.
It's consistent. It's completely consistent.
So now we're all the way back to clipping
right?
tips.
Right. but I like to point out that he was born into a woman's body and became a nymphomaniac. So of course he had a proclivity to enjoy it more in his female form. But that is Tiresias. Now when so Hera gets pissed because he took Zeus's side, and Hera strikes him blind. And then after he gets struck blind, Zeus goes behind her back and he's like, yo, bro, that was kind of fucked up, but thanks for looking out for the fellas. Let me give you a little something, a little comeuppance. And he gives him the blessing of the ability to prophesize. So he becomes the blind seer Tiresias. And then even when he goes down to Hades, Hades is like, man, you've been through some shit. I'm gonna sustain you as you are. I'm gonna keep your character whole. And down here, even in Hades, you're gonna perform as a prophet. So he's a prolific character, and he is seated throughout Greek mythology. He pops in and out. He's a repeat character. Mm-hmm. So, so that's just some of the things I've been picking up on. But it's fascinating, all this context of this hearth, this altar, coming upon me and bringing so much realization as we get closer and closer to this sacred eclipse, this time of year.
You know, one thing that I want to add to that, Gabe, is how part of what I think has been done with mythology to a large degree is and it's probably mostly misunderstanding. But one thing that we know about the gods, or the god and the goddess, is that they have many epithets, many descriptive titles, essentially. And there's plenty of examples where the mythologists, the linguists, they've caught themselves, or they've caught past, predecessors of their field mistaking an epithet for a name, and then classifying a tale as an independent, separate character based on a name. So I just want to offer out there that this Tiresias character, this, mercurial fluid, switching from one side to the other, I think this is a prototype of all of your Hermes, Jesus, Savior, etc. Because when you break down the name, you have Tyre, which is also the Phoenician capital, that it would be pronounced Sir by the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians are who gave the Greeks their letters, and allegedly a lot of the Greek mythology is ripped off of Sanchoniathon or Sanchoniathon, however you call that, the Phoenician scripture. And then the other part of the name is, so it's Sir or Tyre, Isi, and then us. And then the us is just like a termination, like a Latinized termination. So you have in that name, Isi is, or Iso, Isi, Iser, Aesir. These are all like that phonetic of ISO, ISE, ISI, etc. is the name referring to the Savior character. Like Isa is the Arabic name for Jesus Christ, for example. So you have in that name Tiresias, it's Lord Savior, basically. And I think that it may be just an early story, like one of the many stories about the mercurial, son of God figure, because who is he and who is he petitioning to is the father and the mother. So like in that story, Zeus, Hera, and Tiresias, you have the mother, father, child trinity going on, but because of like either misunderstandings or intentional obfuscation going on with mythology, we don't really recognize the characters for who they are. And then like later, poets maybe also misunderstanding the epithet as a name, then attribute that character to some other story that they think that he would fit in. And over time, the whole system just sort of expands and expands and expands until some kind of big revolutionary event contracts the mythos back down to like, okay, it's Jesus, God, and the Holy Ghost, right? And I think this is something that happens is like the mythology expands and expands over time, and then you have to do a reboot and trim it all back down. Like comic books are a great example of this. I really want to talk to like Christopher Knowles about this idea, hopefully soon, because he just put out a new book. I'm waiting to get it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add to your take.
Yeah. And on the Tyre, that's also, that city was known for that purple, for the dyes, but that is part of why I think that is the Indus. Indus has the indigo, again, with this sacred purple of the priest class.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I found this artifact, and now I'm filling it in. I'm finding it in all kinds of places. But my favorite place that it dawned on me is the scene in A Princess Bride, where they're sword fighting, and he's like, "Well, why are you smiling? Because I know something you do not know." What is that? Well, I'm not left-handed. Dun, dun, dun. And he alters. He switches, and the tide shifts of the battle, and the other guy is on the heels, and he starts pushing him back, and he's literally pushing him back on the stone wall of the tower, and the stone falls off the cliff. Well, the posture that they're in when he returns the same phrase, and he says, well, why are you smiling? Well, I know something you do not know. What could that be? He says the exact same thing. He says, well, in that moment when he's pushing them backwards, their body language is perfectly in the shape of the constellation. And so what I'm getting at is they are seeding the anatomically impeccable shapes and formats in the moments when we get goosebumps, when we attach to the music and then dun dun dun, I'm not left-handed, and he alters. They're literally harvesting our goosebumps, and we're attaching to the body language and the shape of the scene. And then later on in the same movie, we all know this one by heart so well. It's at the very end when Indigo,
Neat.
when he gets his revenge, the moment he gets his revenge, he's in a room full of altars. It's actually the very first time when he gets stabbed in the belly by the dirk. He hits him with the dirk when he comes into that room, and Indigo gets stabbed in the gut. He falls to the corner. When he's in the corner, there's a perfect shadow of one of the tables that is in the shape of the Indus constellation. And then the six-fingered man stabs him in one shoulder, and then he stabs him in the other shoulder, and then there's an alteration. He goes through a shift, and the tides change, and he fights back. And you killed my father, prepared to die. My name is Indigo Montoya. And he says it like 6 times. They're dancing around a room that is full of altars, and on those altars are even fruit basket offerings. There's a
and
fire
his trauma, like when he starts repeating, he gets in the loop, you know, his trauma alter ego, the revenge alter ego is activated.
Yes.
You know, there's like the whole alter/alter personality thing going on there too. Dude, I wish you lived close to me so we could just like watch movies and crush gravy in the same room. I really wish that.
Dude, it's really amazing. And then, you know, I love these experiences, and now I have way more context to it. But what gets me is that all of that is harnessed, it builds up, and then when we see that shape on the 9/11, the structure of 9/11, it's getting harnessed, and we become vengeful, and it fucking worked. It worked. They launched an entire war using that shape.
And what's amazing,
you know what
about
I'm excited
that,
for, Gabe? I want to just say, everybody who's maybe new to the channel, go check out Slick Dissident on YouTube. He's gonna be your top autist from now on. He's gonna be your go-to autist. You're gonna see the world so differently if you get into Gabe's mental tunnel and, you know, start trying to make sense of the red string attaching the pictures on the bulletin board. I love you, man.
He's got a touch of the tism.
Oh, he's got a lot. the good kind of tism, though. The good tism.
It's interesting with that shape too, because you're talking about the part of that beam that disintegrated, like it ends up disintegrating, correct? The constellation that you're talking about.
Yes.
So that disintegrates. Like we all see the photo of it in a still, but as you watch that video over the next 9 minutes, it disintegrates. And isn't that sigil magic? Like when you actually have the sigil,
Yes.
and then you burn it, and then when you burn it, that's when the magic actually hits. That's when it actually is invoked.
That's the casting. You got it. Yeah, man. It's really fascinating.
That's awesome.
It's also so it's ARA. Okay, and I'll weave a little more. It's ARA is a nickname for it. That's the abbreviation. Well, sure enough, starting with A in the word America, every third letter is ARA. Now you take the shape of the constellation, you turn it on its side, and you superimpose it onto the shape of North America. Our entire country is the Ara constellation. Okay, that's interesting. Now take the Boötes constellation and put it onto South America. It's the fucking same shape as South America. And the whole thing, if you guys come over, check out what I've done in the most recent couple episodes. It's getting really fun. I'm being very playful. But this is North America, South America, NASA. NASA is North and South America. These
That's so
shapes
true.
have unveiled themselves out of the Crowley deck Fool card. And I'm going to leave everybody hanging because there's an alligator at the bottom with a very significant reveal on my most recent installation. Y'all should come get some. Cash apps below.
And, yeah, I'm so glad we can get you shilling for support now. Like, you've done so much for so many of our channels, man. Appreciate it. So send that guy money. Want to say thanks to some super chatters on this channel. Jeffrey for the 33. Thank you, buddy. And then Jeffrey again with 9. So, that's Cucumber. Right on. Cucumber. It's good to see you at the festival as well. Mormon Rishi always likes to double up the super chats. I love it. Thanks, man. And over on the Rockfin side, we had Braden and Kylie and Jason. So thanks all you guys. Great to feel the love, feel the support. And I got an analog super chat today. So it came in this card. Check out this cool card. You know, it's like I should make myself big to show this card because it's really cool.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, right? It's an awesome piece of art. Like, I would put this in a frame on the wall or, like, I don't know, color it with colored pencils. So it's from Stacy. You know, she just wanted to let you know how much I appreciate you and how much value your podcast has. You're truly a breath of fresh air. Really enjoy you and wanted to thank you for all you do. So, Stacy, thank you for that. It was a significant donation. Like, I think maybe the most anybody has ever given me just as a gift. So thank you so much. It's heartwarming. Me and my lovely bride were just blown away to see that support. Appreciate it so much. And so everyone out there making it happen for me, let me live the life of my dreams, do this as a job. I couldn't be more grateful. Now, there is a comment, though, from Dylan earlier that I wanted to throw your way, Topher.
Okay.
He said, Topher has some gravy about being alien in regions. Is it possible the Earth made us, and that's what our cultures and phenotypes correspond to? And I just want to add a little bit on top of that, is that if you gave me some time and I could put together like a PowerPoint and get some examples from scriptures and mythology and religious traditions, there's a good case to be made that the idea of the demiurge or the creator or the maker is talking about the Earth, that the Earth is the demiurge. So with that being said, there's something up with phenotypes in the world where most people operate on the assumption that if your ancestors migrate to a certain climate or region, then over time their skin color starts to change and their attributes starts to change. There is zero evidence for that ever happening. You know, like people's phenotype is seemingly 100% dependent on their ancestry, but not on their region. So what is up with that? I don't know. But maybe it has to do with the Earth making us and making us in a certain spot, and we emerge out of the soil, dust to dust, all that. What do you think, Topher?
That's a great question. I think we are actually designed by a creator. I really feel like that there is a higher intelligence that makes us, and we're not equal and we serve different functions. And by not being equal, that doesn't mean that we don't deserve the same amount of humanity. It just means that we're
different.
We're
is all.
extremely different. And for as much as we pretend to know what another person is experiencing, we're just pretending. we really don't know. And we can look at body types, and I've touched a lot of bodies professionally, and man, there's so much differentiation between beings. What actually causes that? I mean, I've seen in my own life, I've seen my phenotype, I've seen my dosha, however you want to say it. I've seen it change depending on what I'm eating, what my physical practices are, who I'm bedding with, all these different things. Like, I think we come here to learn boundaries, and at the same time, there really isn't a boundary between us and our environment, and we do express differently depending where we're at. And I mean, whether or not that's carried along to like from a genetic perspective, whatever that means, I have no idea. I think mind is first with all of this. Consciousness is first. And I've been around enough mothers and I shouldn't say it that way. I've been around enough mothers and families where they did the Viking thing and saw their child before they had them and really saw them the way they wanted that child to be. And wouldn't you know it, the child ended up that way, which is very wild. And so what is that? Like, you know, there's at that point, is the parent just being a conduit for the greater creator? That sounds like a possibility. So I'd have to mull on that a little bit, because I do really see massive differences. And I have seen different expressions of the same body in different areas. So I think there is actually a little bit of truth to set and setting. Set and setting does have a lot to do with what our expression is. Not saying that like, hey, if I go to Japan, I'm going to start to, get, small eyes and, no hair on my body. But whatever is latent within my system that resonates with that particular cultural setting, that will start to come forth. Because we're all working off of exposure, all of us, whether we want to admit it or not. What we're exposed to determines a lot of how we express.
I got a little to add on that. I'm really enjoying the Iliad right now, and and the Odyssey. I'm actually onto the Odyssey, and Odysseus, the main character, he's coming out of this horrible war, and he believes that the gods made it worse. And he's actually, in the beginning of the Odyssey, he's actually an atheist. He's disavowing all these gods and these old superstitious behaviors, but he's also far removed from his home base. And the further he goes on his adventure, the more of an atheist he becomes, not relying on the gods, not calling upon them, and in fact being like very defiant of them. In the Polyphemus, the Cyclops who ends up trapping him, he tries to appeal to feel out how Polyphemus is about gods. And he's like, hey, we're your guests here. Don't you think that maybe we should talk about Zeus and sit down and commune and in the spirit of Zeus? And Polyphemus is like, yeah, you're going to talk about gods here. Let me eat some of your buddies. And he eats two of his friends. Well, Polyphemus, it turns out, is subservient to Neptune. He's a descendant of Neptune's bloodline. And so Odysseus goes on all these adventures, and it's not until he starts to the turnaround, where he decides to come back home, and he has deep self-reflection. Odysseus, guys, this is neat. He's the first person ever to actually talk about himself in narrate to the reader through his own words. All the other epics are told like third hand, from third person perspective. He's the first person to actually be like, and then I did this and I did. He's like reflecting on himself for the first time.
Let me give you one little slice though.
Yeah.
Is the Etruscan Odysseus? It goes back even to like a pre-Greek origin, allegedly. There's artifacts, and the way that the name is in the Etruscan is basically like OD UZE or OSE. So anyway, you know how vowels are interchangeable in philology. Yeah. So you have odd, like Odin, God, right? And then you have the ISO, like
Nice.
God, the God Savior. Again, it's like once you have those little keys to the lock picking with philology, you're like, oh, I'm seeing the same epithet in Odysseus as
Right.
in Tiresias.
He's and also he owes odes of Deus. The odes, as in like sing praises of the gods. Ode Deus.
Hmm.
But it's not until he self-reflects and decides, I got to get back to my roots, and he starts to change his ways, and he starts to attempt to get home. That's when Athena can actually start to get through to him again, and he starts to become more receptive. So there's something about being away from home, having none of the motherland with you, and even being not attached to it, being detached, and then changing your mind and being like, I got to get back to my roots. And all of a sudden, he can hear some of those domestic spirits again. His favorite one, Athena in particular. I would even say that building a shrine, if you are in a strange land, how can we sing King of a song in a strange land? You build the temple, you make an altar, you bring those artifacts from home into your space, and you can have ceremony to bring these spirits back into your life again. And that's actually what happens to him. And now he's in the good graces of Athena. He's like, why weren't you helping me with Polyphemus? And she's like, you were in Neptune's territory, buddy. That's out of my jurisdiction. So I do think there is something about the spirits and the certain gods and certain traditions being enriched and embedded into certain territories of the earth. And the closer you get back to your place center, the more true to the roots you become, and the more graced you are by those, elders.
That hits for me too.
Guys, I'm ready to wind it down. What do you think?
Sounds good.
This has been really fun. Topher, thanks for helping me get the the Owen thing lined up for today. That was great.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it just felt like the right moment. It turned out it was. And I'm happy that especially, some people in the audience might have got exposed to you have permission to have fun. You have permission to laugh at stupid stuff. Like, that's the bane of the entire truther community, is everything so serious. They're doing it to us. We're all screwed, blah, blah, blah. And one thing we didn't even really get into that is part of what makes people love Owen and come back to him is the solutions side of what he does, where he talks about his homesteading. He's honest about it. He's not claiming anything that isn't true. It's hard. It's gritty, right? But I love that. And it was cool to see Mike. Cool to see both of you guys. Getting a lot of bookings right now for biofield tuning. If that's something people are interested in doing, please get in touch and we'll do that. Chance at interversepodcast.com, interversepodcast.com/sound-healing. I think we're starting to fill up, and November's running out of spots. So let's make it happen. If you want to do it, let's do it. Had some great results. Logan, if you're in the chat, I think I'm going to read Logan's recent tuning, review, testimonial. It's not too long. He says, a tuning with Chance is a unique and invaluable experience. No matter how fancy your vehicle is, it will inevitably need a tune-up. It could be a bumpy road, years of neglect, or a head-on collision. Whatever threw your vehicle out of alignment can be buffed out via a symphony of cymatic investigation. Man, that's such a poetic way to describe it. Years ago, I would have found myself scoffing at the idea of tuning forks having the ability to dig deep into one's personal dossier of life. Multiple sessions with Chance have proven to be impactful on a level that is hard to put into a concise package. 1,000 waves reshape a beach. Be prepared for 1,000 waves to reshape yours. Man, that's really cool. I appreciate that so much. Really, really kind and well described, like super poetic metaphor.
Yeah.
Hey, and his forks show up tomorrow. Right on, dude. And I had an awesome report from a client recently, and this was somebody who their boyfriend got them attuning. So they're not a listener. They didn't know really about me, or that belief factor maybe wasn't there. But she had recently had a complication with a pregnancy that made her make the decision to abort the pregnancy. And so there's all kinds of stuff around that, right? That would be tough. And part of the reason she was coming for the tuning was to hopefully be able to get her cycle back, because in the many months since she had to terminate that pregnancy, she wasn't having her cycle. So I just got the email from her that 3 days after our tuning, it came back. And there's like this magic thing about tuning where whatever the physiological issue is, it often is resolved like on the dot 3 days after the forking. So just wanted to remind everyone out there that that's an option. We don't have to stay stuck in our trauma. The way that trauma is actually healed is not by knowing that it happened or what happened or, feeling feelings about it, but it's actually really about getting to the root of how did that experience shape the way I see the world and myself and create belief systems that alter my behavior. And once you get behind that and you realize you had free will about something that the conditioning or trauma had made you believe was just how you are or just how life is, then you win. That's the healing of the trauma, in my opinion. So it was good stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. Topher, what's new over at HQ?
Oh, just doing tons of sessions now. I really feel like everything is taken off. Took me a little while to get my footing back in the States, but everything's zooming now. And selling lots of biochar, selling lots of rocket retorts, doing lots of massage work. Really, really, I'm actually going to be teaching a new student with body work with the polarity therapy, which is really exciting because I love teaching. And yeah, that's my days are full. It's dealing with it's a good full, like it's like a very good flow, wonderful reciprocity within the community. So it's been great.
Awesome, man. If I, was in a different phase of my life, I would be interested in picking up that skill set. But as it is now, I'm actually really grateful I have the one that I have because it can be done remotely. Can't exactly massage remotely. Mm-hmm. But yeah, super valuable. Whoever that apprentice is, they've chosen wisely. And make sure you give them a good beating or two.
Yes, it's a she, and I will.
All the more reason.
Yeah, she's ready to go.
All right, Gabe, you got anything to leave the people with? Slick Dissident on YouTube.
Yep. Tomorrow I'm meeting up with those rogue midwives you linked me with, and I believe her name. Oh, I don't want to say it wrong, but it's a group of midwives, and we're talking placenta. So when that comes out, I'll send the links out if it's broadcasted. We're gonna have a good time talking about the midwife crisis.
That's awesome, dude.
Nice.
You're like, there will be a day someday in the future where like the world will acknowledge the role that you had to play in everybody's placenta casserole craze taking off. And any new bears around that just showed up and haven't really tuned into the channel, and you're like, this is interesting, I like the vibe, but what the hell are they talking about? Stick around, or maybe even hit some archives up. There's a lot of legwork to be done to get your head wrapped around some of the symbolic literacy that we attempt to purvey to our audience. But it's kind of the type of thing where we don't really necessarily offer shortcuts all that often, but there are some streams out there where we may start at the ground level on certain topics like philology or a particular branch of symbolism. And just know that the symbolic literacy is your psychic self-defense against the grabbler and against the program, and again, being able to see the spells that are being cast through the media and through so-called world events and news. If you don't want to be caught up in the emotion of it, then you got to get into the intellectual scaffolding that lets you be above it and see, oh, here's the archetypes at play. Here's what they actually mean to do with this. Here's what it flows into, whatever it may be. But just remember, like that one line will serve you well in your studies, is that your symbolic literacy is your psychic self-defense. And you can meet Chance at next year's Beartaria. That's right. I'm in the Ozarks. I'm from here, so I lucked out.
What?
Oh yeah, Sage Bear. We talked to Marty. He was on like 2 weeks ago or something. It's been recent. Yeah, Marty's a homie. Go back in the archive. There's good
he's
stuff.
He's my neighbor. All right, y'all. I'm out.
I'm out too. Yeah, Dylan says makes you unhexable. Exactly. All right. Good night, everybody. Much love. Peace.